The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to LSRTV's continuing coverage of the 2018-19 SESRA Series Championship, live tonight from the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware. Dover International Speedway plays host to round number 7. It's the Chocolate Lovers 200 coming to you up next, but before we get to the on-track action, let's bring you inside the LSRTV virtual booth. Joined alongside Rachel Whiteford and Taylor Fries, myself, David Schulthaus, and brought to you by the magical production value of Brett Wheeler. We're here for another night of racing action. Rachel, I'll turn to you first. 6 races in the books. It's sort of been the story of 2 or 3 big names, sort of developing our own brand of the big 3 between Jeff Ward, Derek Paulson, and Spencer Preet. What do you think we're going to see here tonight for race number 7?
What we're going to see tonight is a lot of carnage for sure, of course, David, as this place is definitely one of the harder racetracks. We'll have some action on track, some very good racing, of course, but Dover tends to stay out a little bit as you get towards the end of his fuel run. But what becomes the issue there, of course, is the tyres and keeping adhesion on them. You get very tight here very easily. We'll see people go for moves they can't quite make, so it's going to be action-packed for sure.
Absolutely. That's it's the 1 mile racetrack. The race is like a short track, sometimes the big high banks, the concrete surface. And Taylor, first time out, I think, for the SESRA Series for you. So what are you looking forward to most, given its Xfinity cars, its tire allocation rule, and 200 laps of action coming our way?
Well, Dover's always given us great racing, whether it be great racing up at the front, racing in the back. Just all in all, I expect a great race, even with a little bit of carnage sprinkled in there. It'll be a typical Dover race, and hopefully it'll be quite an exciting one. These guys are very talented drivers, and they'll put on a great show for us, just like they have been all season long.
We've certainly been treated to 6 weeks of great racing action thus far, and we take a look at those championship standings coming into tonight, and it's going to be Jeff Ward atop the standings by 11 points over his Loud Pedal Motorsports teammate Derek Paulson. So those two finished 1-2 last week, Rachel. I talked to him before the race. They didn't seem as confident maybe coming into tonight, given it is a difficult track to get around. There's a lot of cars out here taking time in qualifying right now, but those two have been some of the best guys, along with Spencer Preet as well, 13 points back. Kyle Vincent Gilbert there in 4th, and Sean Wilder 5th. Still seems pretty wide open from top to bottom. Not a big separation, but really it's been those guys at the top that we've been talking about the most.
You're right, and you say this is a mile track that races like a short track, but it's got the predictability of a super speedway. So yeah, they're not feeling too confident because you can get involved in somebody else's trouble at somewhere like Dover very easily, and there's no way you can go to get away from it. So this is a bit like a bobsled run. You're locked into the channel, and if it happens ahead of you, there's really no way through it. So unless you can guarantee you'll be out front in clean air, this race has a lot of risk.
We talk about the tire allocation rule unique to this series, and a rule that I really care for tonight. They get 3 sets of tires, so the set that they start the race with, and then 2 new sets in the pits. So you got to have a little bit of strategy, and this is a track that does wear tires rather quickly, Taylor. So these guys are going to have to take care of the equipment. We talk about it every week, taking care of your stuff. But here, it's really going to be at a premium when you only got 2 sets and 200 laps to get it done after you start on that initial set. So as a driver, what's got to be the mentality as you get set up for 200 laps here at Dover while you take care of your equipment?
The obvious thing that you got to do is just take care of your equipment. I mean, the best thing for a driver to do is to just split it, go down pit road every 100 laps or so, try and save the tires enough that they don't have to, use the first set early and then risk having the second one, taken too early or whatever. But with the fuel run, we only have like 50, 60, 70 laps on the fuel, so it's going to be pretty difficult for these guys to manage what they have for these sets of tires. They start off with 1, then they have 2 opportunities to go down pit road and take these sets, but it just the 200 laps, it's going to be very, very challenging, but quite manageable for these drivers to use these two sets very wisely.
Speaking to a couple of the drivers before the race, they said they could go somewhere between 78 to 85 laps on fuel if need be, but the tires will probably wear out well before then. So, you know, you do a little bit of math, 200 laps, 3 sets of tires. You try and want to split those runs up as evenly as possible. So maybe looking 65 to 70 laps per run and maybe have a little bit of a short stint there and the third stage of this race. But we'll see how it all plays out. It's going to be dictated by any yellow flags we get for sure. No doubt there as well. But, you know, these guys have kept it pretty green all year long, I would say. And as we say that, we got cars on pit road gridding up. So let's take this opportunity to look at the starting lineup top to bottom. It's going to be your LSRTV starting grid. And the man on the pole, this is bad news for the rest of the field. It's been a few weeks since we've seen him. That's Justin Bolton in the 76. We last saw him in Atlanta. Have himself a great run there and had some connection issues that forced him out of that race. So tonight, looking for some redemption. To his outside will be your points leader. Driving the number 9, that's Jeff Ward. Inside row number 2, going to be the 35 of Brian McRae, and his outside, the 00, Spencer Preet. 5th place is going to be Mike Montesi in the number 7, and that 6th starting spot is going to go to Michael Cozy Jr. driving the 99.
7th place tonight, Troy Radford with Travis Brown there in the 8th spot outside of the 4th row. 5th row is going to be Steve Ritter on the inside with Mark Arthur on the outside there. Behind them, on row number 6, it's Rick Thompson and Jay Graves Jr.
Starting in row number 7, Sean Wilder in 13th place. On 14th place, the 13 car of Matt Ridgway. 15th place, Brad Collins in the 28 machine. And 16th place, Taylor Butcher Benjamin.
We have John Johnson from 17th there. Kyle Vincent Gilbert 18th. Jonathan Smith in 19th. Zachary Sprung in the 21 is going to roll off from 20th. And the last car taking time here tonight is going to be Jason Anderson in that number 27, rolling off from 21st. We also see the names of Ashton Schleiss, Derek Paulson. That's a big name, 2nd place in points. Didn't get a qualifying time down, rolling off from deep in the field. Doug Johnson, the 88, Fred Thompson as well. So big news there. Rachel looking in the back of the field. Derek Paulson, the number 5, didn't get a qualifying lap down. I wonder why.
Well, sometimes starting from the very back of Dover is also as preferable as the very front. It can get dangerous here, so we'll see. A lot of guys have chosen not to qualify, and that might be why.
Definitely something to keep an eye on, and cars rolling off a pit road, getting ready, checking everything over, make sure they're ready to go for 200 laps here, which should be a pretty physically demanding time if this thing stays green for a while. It's definitely something that can wear on you, even as a sim racing driver. It's not an easy thing to do for a couple hours to get around Dover. It's not like the cars handle exactly ideal from time to time, but we look up front, Justin Bolton is going to look to set the tone early here as he will lead this field to the green flag. With Jeff Ward in the outside lane there in that number 9. So these two guys had themselves a pretty good scrap back at Atlanta, and it got cut short, like we said, for Justin Bolton. So really excited to see him come out here tonight, see what he can do, look for some redemption. Field is in the hands of Justin Bolton. That's 76 as they work through 3 and 4. Pace cars off, looking for the green flag as they come onto the front straightaway. Get this race underway. There it is. Green flag is out. 200 laps from Dover. Coming to you live next. Wheel spin already for the 35 of McRae, but they're down and away and clean.
Oh, big check up there on that inside line there. This is what will happen at Dover. You just get that spin happening and it's nothing you can do about it. Or a little bit sideways there as the field plows through 1 and 2 nice and fast. Everyone's sorting out to try and find that single file line. You don't want to be too wide here for too long. It really slows you down, and of course there's also not a lot of room coming out of some of these corners if you want to get out of there with speed. One of the big problem spots, of course, coming out of turn 4, there's a hump coming out of 4, so those guys may end up getting loose on older tyres, spinning on the front stretch, which is the narrowest part of the racetrack where accidents can happen you just can't avoid.
See Spencer Preet got himself up to the 2nd spot. Now he peeks down to the inside, looking inside of Justin Bolton there. So Spencer Preet being his normal aggressive self. Justin Bolton happy to give him the lane and let him go by. Let's move the 00 up to position number 1 here, starting lap number 3. So no surprise there. Spencer Preet, we've talked about him being very aggressive, and he wants to get out there and lead and leave his troubles behind him. Put Jeff Ward back to 3rd as they work down the back straight. But yeah, it's a narrow track. Trouble breaks out. We talk about this being one of those self-cleaning racetracks. All the banking, even on these straightaways, will carry those problems down to the inside wall. So got to be mindful of that. But right now, everyone minding their P's and Q's and pretty much single file.
Yeah, they really are, and of course, and that's what we talk about it being difficult for a racetrack. Of course, there's nowhere flat. There's nowhere to really relax. Everywhere has some aggressive banking, Taylor.
Yeah, Dover is definitely one of the hardest oval tracks to run on. You go to places like Kansas and Las Vegas, you got time to relax while you're out there single file, but at Dover you gotta be on your high heels all throughout this racetrack. One simple mistake will have you going right to the wall or even losing control of your car in general. This may look like a very short track, but it is very big and very scary for many drivers.
Well, it's earned the nickname the Monster Mile for a reason, and it's the concrete jungle. It's got a lot of different names depending on how well you like to get around the racetrack. To be more specific, some drivers really take a liking to this concrete surface and the tight confines, the steep banking. Some of them look at it as a sort of a larger Bristol. And we already were there once this season, had some pretty good racing there. But you know, you look at these guys; they're just tiptoeing right now, feeling things out. But Spencer Preet he's just sort of checking out. He's already built up a lead of almost a second over Justin Bolt and Jeff Ward there as well. Michael Cozy Jr. in the 99 in fourth, and Travis Brown up to fifth. So. You know, I should say Spencer Preet not wasting any time to try and build a big lead, but you got to question, is he abusing his equipment too much right now?
Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility, but you're right, calling it a big Bristol. It feels like that, honestly, in terms of how the track races and how much room you have. But if you've got a good working car, or you particularly got the place nailed in, then yeah, you can go pretty fast. But how much he's pulling on Bolton, that does concern me a little bit, that he is using up too much too soon, but he could be expecting an early caution, which isn't unlikely.
I trust in Spencer Preet to know what he needs to do. He's been at this, had a lot of success in this series so far over the weeks, and a couple of wins to his credit. So if he goes out there and sets the pace he feels comfortable running right now, I got to feel that he finds it in his best interest to run at that speed. So that's where he wants to be, is out front, asserting himself and saying, hey guys, if you're going to come and pass me, you're going to have to use up your stuff to catch me, because I'm not coming back to you anytime soon. But still, everyone's single file all the way through the top 10. No real side-by-side battles to really highlight as of yet. But I think we'll see as we go through this race, Taylor, some guys that start up front and sort of fall through the field as maybe they got a really good qualifying lap and the racecraft and the race pace isn't quite there. And some guys starting in the back that will move to the front as well. And one of those guys, Derek Paulson, we talked about him, started 23rd. He's worked up to 20th at this point, so hasn't gained a lot of ground yet, but he's got a long way to go. But he's got a good enough car and has the skill in order to make that thing happen.
Well, many drivers do practice this track a lot. They've raced a lot of races. So many of these drivers do have, you know, some sort of practice at this track. They know how to save their equipment, make the longer runs work, and make the short runs work better. But what Spencer is doing right now, he's showing off that he has speed throughout the whole race, whether he's using up most of his equipment or just saving his equipment. But a lot of drivers here don't have a lot of long run speed. That's the biggest issue that I've seen throughout a lot of racing here at Dover, is many drivers think that they're just going to get a lot of short runs and then they use up their equipment on the longer runs, which costs them a lot of positions in the long runs. So we'll see how long this run will be. It'll probably be green for most of the race, if not a lot of the race. So we'll see what happens here for the long runs and see which drivers definitely have the longer run car for tonight.
Well, a driver that's been excellent on long runs all season long has been Jeff Ward. That's been one of his calling cards and why he has 2 wins to his credit. We saw just last week at Pocono, he took the win and had a lot of long runs there that he used to great effect. And all the way back at Charlotte, did the same thing, was very strong on the long run there. He's fallen back a couple spots from where he started. He's back to 4th right now as Michael Cozy Jr. worked his way past in the 99, and he's got Travis Brown in that 01 sort of breathing down his neck there. But I would imagine Jeff Ward, he has a good idea of what he's doing, and again wants to set the pace that he really feels comfortable running.
Absolutely, and wow, yeah, long runs here can be difficult, but the biggest problem will be a caution during a green flag pit stop, because you will lose 2 laps here on a green flag pit stop, and that's something you have to watch out for, because that could leave you trapped multiple laps down. And it's often a problem here. There's some racing happening up here for the 4th spot as well, looking Jeff Ward in this action as well.
A swap for position there, and you saw this fight on your screen between Mark Arthur in the 12 and Brian McRae in the 35, for the 51 of Troy Radford in there as well, and the 7 of Mike Montesi. Quite the scramble from 6th through 9th. They got it all sorted out now and are back to single file, but some close, anxious moments between the driver of the 12 and the driver of the 35 there. They kept it straight, and well, no wrecks yet, and perhaps that's what they were banking on, was some wrecks coming in this race. Normally Dover is a track that will collect a lot of casualties and you'll have a lot of carnage, but so far much like we've seen all year long, the SESRA drivers, very clean, don't get into each other that much, and we're still under green here on lap 16.
Not a lot of battling throughout this entire track. It's just mostly single file. You'll have those occasional side-by-side action, but I ain't seeing much. I ain't seeing much side-by-side racing. Everybody's just racing their own pace and racing nice and...
Yeah, of course, as soon as you say that, Taylor, we're back to 4 cars fighting under a blanket here. The 51 of Radford. Oh, that's close off of turn 4 with Brian McRae on the outside. Mark Arthur in the outside lane there. There's Mike Montesi in the 7. Are they going to go 3 wide? Please don't. Mark Arthur thinks better of it, backs out of it there, but that's close running, Rachel. These guys, I think we've seen this throughout the year. There's just little pockets of the talent level and the guys that run the same sort of pace during a run. And, you know, that's what we've seen, and these guys are demonstrating that here is once again the 12 of the 35 make contact. Oh, no. Mark Arthur hard in the inside fence. No yellow going to fly there, but that looked like Brian McRae getting a little bit of fed up with the 12 beating his door in.
Yeah, that's one of those things that happens. We'll get your replay up on the screen there to show you what happened, but this is one of those products of coming out of turn 4 a little bit loose. He was loose, he slid up there. It was actually down. Yeah, McRae came down.
Yep. Arthur spun back straight away.
Yeah, he spun out there on the back straight. You just saw that there. It was product of the damage he already had, but he just got up into the wall, tried to hold it down, clip, boom, down he goes. And we'll get a lot of those. Stayed low, so nobody else involved, and this is what we talk about, the self-cleaning nature of Dover. That cars tend to crash and stay where they end up. And if they're up high, go high, because they're going to end up going down the track. Everything goes down here. Including the car count.
Yeah, it could easily turn into a race of attrition, and unfortunately our Daytona pole sitter, Mark Arthur, the first casualty here is that number 12 Dr. Squatch Chevy Camaro, all beat up from 2 trips into the inside fence, once on the front straightaway and once on the back straightaway. I don't know if he's going to hold any ill will or grudge towards Brian McRae in that 35. Is they had a lot of close racing together, and you know, sometimes a guy's frustration level peaks and his patience runs out, and I don't know if that's what that was exactly, or poor handling, or some combination of the two. But
it was bad handling. Looking at the way he actually handled on the racetrack, it was he got loose up top and he had to come down. He had no option there.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't think we've seen too many frustrations boil over, too many, too many incidents that have had some built-up rage behind them. But you know, that's just the nature of the beast. High speeds, and these cars on the outside lane don't have that grip like the guys on the inside lane will exactly, and it's tough to hold on to up there, but you don't necessarily want to concede a spot. But Mark Arthur will bring the number 12 down to pit road and try and get any repairs exacted that he can. But you know, 20 laps of green flag racing, most of the field will stay out as expected because they're just not in that tire or fuel window yet. And Taylor, we look ahead to what should be a very interesting restart. Now we're going to have worn tires, cold tires, and we saw wheel spin on brand new tires on the initial start, so Lord knows what we're going to see next.
Oh god, when you have restarts on old tires anywhere, you're going to have major wheel spin. So if anybody really stays, if a lot of drivers really stay on, we're going to be seeing some wheel spin up at the front. Now the question is, who's going to manage that wheel spin? Who's going to predict it correctly and save it? Because we know that we're going to be seeing maybe 1 or 2 drivers spin it out, or almost spin it out completely, and possibly bring out another caution. But we ran 22 laps. Some drivers maybe looking going down pit road this time by. I'm seeing a couple drivers looking like they may, but we have a restart with 22 laps on tires. Doesn't sound like a lot, and it doesn't sound like they're worn or anything like that, but you could run like 3 laps here and the tires are going to spin quite well. I mean, we saw tire spin on the initial start. We're probably going to see even worse tire spin coming to the restart.
Well, Rachel, we were talking before the broadcast here about that exact scenario, and you had talked about a personal experience you had with a restart here at Dover and tires. So for the viewers at home, what was your experience, and what do you think we're going to see here?
Oh, my experience was quite an amusing one. In fact, it was a truck race here, 125 laps, and because there were so many wrecks happening behind us, we got a caution every lap, or 2 laps, or 3 laps. I think the longest run we had was 10 laps. So what did myself and the front 2 cars do? Oh, we were all swapping P1, 2, and 3. We stayed out for the entire race. 125 laps on tyres in the trucks, because there was no way we wanted to go back in that pack. Restarting on slippery old tyres was massively preferential, and when I say slippery tyres, I mean you were counter-steering on the starts after about 30 laps. It was horrible. The trucks, especially with the light rear end, they spun the tyres up very easily. These Xfinity cars, a little different, but not too good still. But yeah, sometimes going back in the pack on an old tyre restart at Dover, if you don't want to do it, it's bad. Really bad.
I can't tell you how many times I've figured out that staying out on old tires is not a good idea in most cases. I've done that several times, and it's costed me not only possibly a couple wins, but some like top 5s and top 10s. So having wheel spin is definitely hard to manage here, and you got to predict it correctly.
Well, it's one of those things they talk about, treating the gas pedal like there's an egg underneath of it, and being very gentle with that. And I think all these drivers are going to have to keep that in mind as the lights go out atop the pace car, and these guys are getting ready for their first restart of the race here on lap 24, coming to 25. And that's what we'll be looking for. So, Brett, get ready. There could be some carnage coming our way with these guys restarting on these tires.
This is where it goes wrong.
It could be. This is where we may see more cars expire at this point. We still have, what, I think 25, 26 cars maybe still on the racetrack at this point. So there's a lot that can go sideways here. I guess all puns intended, but Spencer Preet still the man out front. Justin Bolton will restart to his outside. And it'll be Michael Cozy Jr., Travis Brown making up row 2, Jeff Ward, Troy Radford there in row 3. So keep a long shot ready, Brett. We'll see what happens on this restart. I imagine it might get a little bit interesting, but maybe they'll prove me wrong. They've proved me wrong every time I've predicted something pretty much all year long, and hopefully they'll prove me wrong here as well. We'll just keep rolling green. We'll see. Field in the hands of Spencer Preet. He's down and away. Green flag is in the air. Let's see, does anybody lose control of the car? Oh, it's a little bit hairy on that outside lane.
I don't see any tire spin.
Just a little bit.
I don't see any tire spin, but I think that was Travis Brown that held up the outside line. Just probably didn't get on the pedal quick enough, but no tire spin for that time. So that's a good sign at least.
I'd certainly say so. See, they proved me wrong. That's great, Rachel. I love it. I predict something, they go out and they prove me wrong, and it keeps us under green, so I'll take that anytime.
Oh yeah, but yeah, give him some time. Still plenty of cars grouped up here. So we've got a little bit of rubbing happening there back in the pack. That was, I believe, around the location Tyler Butcher Benjamin, the 8. And I believe that was a 227 of Vincent Gilbert getting through there. Faster car. I wanted to go back forwards again, but those two rubbed some paint for a moment there in turn 1 and 2. It's like these cars coming out of turns 3 and 4 side by side will cause them issues. They want to get a single file ASAP. Look at the front though. Bolton is rushing Preet this time. He's not going to let him get away this time by as he looks to the low side there. The 76 car looking down on the 00 of Preet. Gets right up there on the rear bumper there. He is not letting him bolt off like the first time. I think Preet showed his cards a little too quickly last time on that first run. Because Bolton, oh, he's realised he's got a different race to deal with.
Yeah, Justin Bolton, what we refer to as one of those cagey veterans. A guy whose name's very popular, very well known on the iRacing service, and flexed a lot of muscle at Atlanta. So I think maybe he was letting Preet settle into a false sense of security out front, and now is starting to show a little bit of muscle under that 76 and show him what he can do around the Monster Mile here. Yeah, Preet is not building the kind of lead that we saw during that first stint. Michael Cozy Jr. back there in 3rd, Jeff Ward up to 4th, but all eyes out front as this battle for the lead continues. Spencer Preet a little bit of sideways off of 2. Those are the kind of bobbles that Justin Bolton will absolutely take advantage of. There he goes to the bottom. He'll clear himself through the center of the corner off of 4, puts Justin Bolton back out in front here, starting lap number 30. So back to where he thinks that he should be and where he started the race, back up to P1.
Oh, trouble, turn 1, 35, Brian McRae is turned around.
Oh, that's going to collect a couple of cars and still carnage going on there, as that's going to be the 25 of Mark Dingman coming in a little bit late to the party, getting into the back of Jonathan Smith in the 23. So it looks like 3 cars involved here as, boy, this started well up ahead. We'll get the replay up on the screen from Brett Wheeler in just a moment, but this started all the way back on the front straightaway.
Yeah, it did, and it's the case of the car on the top, the 5 coming down again on the car below them, which turned him around and, well, put a lot of guys into a bit of a blender.
Doesn't look like turn 4 on the outside's really helping out a lot of guys. That's pretty much how we've had these 2 cautions today. Car on the outside just loses control for a moment, comes down on the driver that's on his inside.
That's going to collect Derek Paulson. You saw it there as well. Your second place in points driver right there, trying to make his way up through the field after that bad qualifying attempt. And those are some of the dangers that you take on. We talked about that, trying to avoid some of the carnage starting in the back, but you can also get swept up into it as well. And Brian McRae finds himself running into another driver through no fault of his own. Sort of flip of the first time when he had contact with Mark Arthur, but that number 5 car, looking at him, that's a lot of damage to the rear end, and that's going to adversely affect his night here as well. So tough for Derek Paulson, tough for Brian McRae, the driver of the 23 as well, as we said, involved there too. And that's Jonathan Smith, I should say, apologize for that, and Mark Dingman as well. So 4 cars all in all, Rachel. And it can happen just that fast. Something that starts off of 4 halfway down the front straightaway ends up continuing on through 1 and 2.
That's how these things tend to go. Most of the wrecks will start out of turn 4, and they'll be ending in turns 2, normally in some cases. But the short wrecks happen out of turn 2. They're the ones that end up going straight down to the bottom of the back end. And to be honest, this is actually a pretty decent race for Dover. For anyone criticizing this and going, "Oh, is this the ARCA series?" No, this is clean for Dover. Trust me. Dover could be an absolute death blender where there is ridiculous, stupid cautions every 5 laps. This has been 2 cautions and 2 very similar cautions we've had in about the same sort of time period. Of it's old tyres, and the fact they have limited tyres means the cars are very, very difficult to handle. They've only got 2 spare sets to put on in a 200-lap race, so there you go.
For 200 laps, you know, this is probably going to be one of the cleanest Dover races I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot of Dover races and raced in a bunch of Dover races. You know, Dover is not particularly one that you would necessarily see a very clean race, and we're seeing that one today, even though we've had 2 cautions pretty close to one another. That doesn't mean that it's becoming a wreck fest or anything like that. This is typical Dover. I mean, every track's going to have wrecks and all that sort of stuff, and Dover is usually one where we see more wrecks and more ways than none, but tonight we're seeing less ways for cautions than I believe I've ever seen, and I've been doing iRacing for a couple years now.
Well, I watched the pit work go on there for the number 5 of Derek Paulson, that American Pool Supply Ford Mustang. Still looking pretty sad on the front and the back end, but they got him all fixed up for the most part, better than certainly could have. We'll see how that car drives in traffic at this point, but you know, for a guy second in points, that's not how you want this race to go. He's got enough time. We're only on lap 33 of 200. Plenty of time to make that up, Rachel, but not what he had in the game plan.
No, not at all. And Andy the King there in the chat with the super chat. Thank you, Andy, by the way, as we got these guys ready, racked and stacked for the restart here. And, well, Bolton's definitely showed his hand to, what do you call it, to Spencer Preet here. So that'll be an interesting one for Preet. How does he react to this? Does Preet realise, oh, did I really kind of blow my load early on this one? Or has Justin Bolton just been saying, settle down, kid, this is how you do it?
Time will tell. Caught me off guard with that one. I appreciate that. Yeah, time will tell. I think, you know, Justin Bolton is very talented in his own right. We saw a glimpse of that back at Atlanta. Spencer Preet, no slouch himself. So maybe these two guys, like prize fighters, sort of, you know, feeling each other out, throwing a couple jabs, seeing where the weaknesses might lie, now that they both held the lead. And you know, they can start to work on each other, try and get in each other's head, and by the time it's all said and done, we'll see which one of them prevails. But interesting to see the back and forth between these two guys, very fast in their own right. And yeah, perhaps Preet realized he went a little bit too hard on that first run, but he certainly was holding that lead okay until this caution flag flew. But now it's going to be Justin Bolton in control on the bottom lane and get an opportunity for another restart, for chaos to break out. Hopefully, again, they can mind their P's and Q's like they did last time and do a great job, so we don't have to worry about too many wrecks on the screen there. But it's going to be Spencer Preet. It's going to be Justin Bolton. Bolton's down and away. Gets a great restart there. He's down by a full car length by the time they even get to the front straightaway. Green flag back in the air on lap number 34. Put Justin Bolton out front. Spencer Preet in second, side by side for third.
I'm mainly just keeping an eye on many of the battles happening up in the back of the field, trying to see what everybody's up to, everybody's becoming single file. They're not wanting to go double file. They don't want to race side by side. There's 200 laps and 36 of them have been completed. no need to become so aggressive. We're not even a quarter of the way done. Still have, most drivers still have 2 sets of tires still left. They're not using up their tires as much as other drivers would, so.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, you know, I think we've seen in this series, Rachel, as much as anything, they're racing the track almost more than they're racing each other for much of the event, maybe say for the last, you know, 0.25% of the race. It's really just about getting out there, logging laps, taking care of your stuff, and setting up for that final run, trying to log a few mental notes as well. And I think that's what leads to most of the green flag racing that we've seen this season.
Yeah, it really does, and the guys in the SESRA series get it done properly, and that's one of the most important things, I think. These guys show incredibly good racecraft, incredibly talented racing, and the tire limit shows something that I think iRacing should bring in as a feature here. You know, allow leagues to set hard tire limits. It makes the racing better. Hell, set tire limits in the official races. Screw these guys who go in every caution, get a new set of tires, and let's go at it again until they cause more wrecks. Because that's what causes wrecks. Loads of fresh tires all the time. When you have to protect your stuff, you protect your stuff.
I could not agree more. I said it at the outset of the season when we were in Daytona that the tire allocation rule is one of my absolute favorite rules that I've ever seen in sim racing, going years and years back. And it's just something that really puts the drivers into a different mentality. And you really see some great racing come out of it because, yeah, you can't go 100% hot lapping it lap after lap. As we see Mike Montesi in the 7 battling here with Travis Brown in the 01. Good battle there for 6th and 7th. But it puts the drivers in a mentality where they've really got to take it easy. Treat it like a very real race. And you got to take care of your tires. You just don't have unlimited rubber available to take on. And so you see these guys approach the races differently. They set up their passes a little bit differently. And overall, I think it leads more often than not to better racing as a whole. And anything that leads to better racing, in my opinion, and Taylor, I'm sure you'll agree, is for the benefit of everybody.
Oh yeah, when you have a specific amount of tires, it definitely helps out everybody. Now, I do agree that it needs to become a feature because for those leagues who run it like this series right here, it's hard to really enforce it unless you're, you know, doing like the honesty system and all that sort of stuff. But iRacing needs to implement the tire limitation system in, and you know, for the leagues like this and some other leagues that'll run this sort of like tire limit and all that sort of stuff, it would help them out a lot more than just saying, you know, be honest, how many times you've went down pit road and all that sort of stuff. So not only does it bring a whole level of competition and other sorts of stuff, it brings some other good stuff to the table, like better racing and more efficient racing.
Well, we got a change for 3rd. Jeff Ward got past Spencer Preet. And looking at the right front of the 00, that right front fender looks a little crinkled, so I think Spencer's found the outside wall just a little bit, and that allowed Jeff Ward to move past him. Meanwhile, out front, still Justin Bolton, and he has built himself a nice 1.5 second lead over Michael Cozy Jr. in the 99, so Justin Bolton starting to lay it to these guys just a little bit and stretch that lead out, but he seems to be putting down the fastest lap times right now of anybody I'm tracking, and certainly Jeff Ward is a 10th or 2 off of him. Cozy's a 10th or 2 off, and Spencer Preet is losing time as well with that damage. So right now, Rachel, it looks like Justin Bolton is going to be the guy to beat, and these guys just got to sort of figure out how to keep him in range.
Let's not forget that, you know, Justin Bolton was going to destroy these guys at Atlanta until he had his own technical problems that took him out of the race, but he's so much faster, and he's proven that already. He's nearly 2 seconds up the road from Michael Cozy Jr., which is a huge difference there, but Cozy's one to keep an eye on. He's moved up from 6th on the grid to 2nd right now, ahead of Jeff Ward, and Preet, of course, back in 4th place. It's really shaking this one around, and with the tire rule these guys have, like I said, the league has had to change, and the drivers have had to change, which means these typical problem racetracks are nowhere near as bad as they have been in other series. And, you know, it's come to the point where we think 2 or 3 wrecks in SESRA is terrible. Oh my god, it's a wreck fest. Because normally they have maybe 1, because they're being careful. Which shows in the respect the drivers give each other, it shows in their honesty, and honestly, right now, we're seeing a very interesting way these guys are handling, because of course it's fixed setup. So, they're all racing the same car, and how well you protect your car is how well you can perform in this race, and that's the huge factor here. Everyone has the same machinery. It's how you drive that will win a race.
And I think when you take a step back and look at what a league can boast and what sets SESRA apart from everybody is this league really shows who the best driver is. It takes, setups out of the equation. It takes, the pitting every caution thing out of the equation as well. And it just really shows you from top to bottom who can practice the best racecraft out of the entire field as we jump on board with Jeff Ward in the number 9. Here's a guy that's featured a lot of great racecraft over the first 6 races of the season as he's stalking Michael Cozy Jr. Cozy sort of falling back into the clutches now. Both these guys about 2 seconds back from Justin Bolton, but on board the number 9 Arctic Ford Mustang from Loud Pedal Motorsports, last week's winner at Pocono, trying to work over Michael Cozy Jr. And you just see as we look out the windshield, the tight confines here, the concrete everywhere, and those walls get really close on corner exit. But Jeff Ward, one of the best in the business when it comes to the SESRA Series. He's taking his time, not rushing things here. Knows he can get by Michael Cozy, just got to set him up.
Yeah, it really does. And Cozy's one of those drivers that's in the right place here to really wait for this one, because Bolton, again, could go off early. Bolton could have some problems later in this when he gets to lap traffic. That'll be a huge one for him to deal with, because the lap traffic here is hard to pass, and I think at the moment Cozy knows he can't keep up on raw pace. He's going to have to find a strategy way around Justin Bolton, so that 2.3 second gap doesn't matter. What matters to him is it's the guy behind him, Ward, who's sitting right on his butt, but it's not close enough to really make a pass.
Watching what Jeff Ward does, and it's the same thing I see him do week in and week out. He sort of backs the corner up, lets the car float to the center, and then he just points it down the hill and stands on it. Gets these great massive runs off the corner, and it's the type of run that you think you'd see a guy getting from the high side and sweep down these straightaways. But here at Dover, he's doing it from the top in the middle of the corner or the middle of the groove, and then just going down to the bottom and driving straight off the corner. Which is what allows him to save his tires better, I think, than most of the drivers in this field. Is the less you're turning that steering wheel, the less you're abusing the right front, and taking care of the right front here, Taylor, is pretty much paramount, as he will now take over the second spot from Michael Cozy Jr. to put Jeff Ward up to second.
When you use less of that right front tire, you're saving up those sets of tires for later, and that really helps you out in the longer runs with getting those fresh sets of tires later on in this run. And we've been running 54 laps on these same sets of tires. Nobody has went down pit road up at the front of the field under these 2 cautions that we've had. So these guys have been really using up their tires, not as much as other, like when other leagues come here and other races, they'll use up their tires at like 20, 30 laps. These guys are running 50 to 60 laps, almost entirely green. We've had only 2 cautions today, and they haven't went down pit road once. So guys really know how to save their tires, and they need to know how to save these tires, because they don't have unlimited sets. They only have 2 other tire sets.
That's a good point there, and again, I think that's what highlights the strengths and the true talents of these drivers in the SESRA series. Is you got to understand how to keep a car faster for longer if you're going to succeed in this series, because you got to be comfortable driving on old tires. You got to be comfortable driving on a car that has half the grip that it used to have when you took the first green flag. And looking at the lap times, Jeff Ward last time by 24.8. He qualified at 23.0, so he's almost 2 seconds off of his qualifying time here, 57 laps into this run. That's a huge amount of fall off, Rachel, and you really got to keep track of that so you don't blow an entry. You're not going too fast. You're not pushing up in the middle of the corner. You're not smacking the wall on exit, and that's what makes these guys so good.
It really is, and the whole thing with Dover is there's 2 ways to run the corner. There's to back it up and run through the middle and then stand on the gas approach to taking Dover. But we'll take a look at Justin Bolton right now, who is coming through 3 and 4 as it stands, and he's taking a higher line there in 3 and 4, which is good for saving the tyre, and it makes it a less aggressive line off the corner and lower bump. But as he comes into the corner here, you'll see him apex once, and then come up in the middle, and then he goes down again. You're seeing exactly the V line that is taken at Dover in 1 and 2, because it's a slightly more efficient way around the corner. You treat them as 2 separate corners. You come in, you apex, you come off the corner a bit, maybe a lane, maybe half a lane. It'll get a bigger gap as the race goes on, and of course you'll come up further, but you basically diamond that corner. It's only subtle, but you diamond it. You just come off the bottom, and then you come back down again and hit another apex, and you take turn 2. And it just makes the thing feel a lot wider, and you can get more speed through it.
Great analysis there of the line being taken by your leader, Justin Bolton, as he comes up quick on the back of Brian McRae in the 35. 3-lap cars right in front of there. You got to be very careful. If you're Justin Bolton here, these guys are trying to sort themselves out and go 3 wide. McRae gets out of the way, and off he goes. Mark Arthur there in the 12 trying to get through as well. Some tense moments there, and now as he gets through this lap traffic, that just means guys like Jeff Ward and Michael Cozy Jr., Spencer Preet will have to deal with them as well. So how clean can you get through these slower cars? That can be the big difference of gaining time or losing time. And speaking of gaining time, Jeff Ward is only 1.5 seconds back. He's gained a full second over the last couple of laps. So Bolton's losing a little bit of pace. Jeff Ward picking it up just a little bit. We might have a fight for the lead before this thing's said and done. It seems like everyone else sort of falling off here. And we're at lap 62. We said we expected pit stops somewhere between, lap 85 to 95 perhaps. Maybe for for fuel, but if they run this thing on tires, we said between 65 and 75. So we might be closing in on some green flag pit stops here.
Green flag pit stops are always fun to watch. They shuffle up the field, and you may even see some costly mistakes.
Well, we've seen mistakes play out on pit road in the past couple of races. Some guys that have tried to get all they can, and sometimes when you try a little bit too hard, you step over that edge, Rachel. And we saw it back at Atlanta, where Michael Cozy Jr. got onto pit road way too hot, spun out, and took himself out of a podium finish for sure. So, Dover's a very tricky track to get onto pit road. Just got to get all the way down to 35 miles per hour from these high banks. That's not an easy thing to do, and so we'll be keeping a keen eye on that. But, getting onto pit road, getting your service, and getting off of pit road, you can lose or gain a lot of time.
Absolutely, and 35 miles an hour is an incredibly slow pit road from how fast this track runs. It's a small track, but it runs very fast, and getting down to that speed is difficult. The entry is very flat. You're off the banking and basically entry to 3, and it means it's quite difficult. But look at Bolton. This is what we talked about, the traffic being a problem. Look how much that lead has disappeared. It was nearly 3 seconds, now it's 1.2. Traffic is going to eat him out.
Yeah, this thing's tightening up and looking real good if you're Jeff Ward. And again, we talked about it, that long run speed, his ability to just maintain the fastest laps for the longest amount of time, lap over lap. Jeff Ward, that's what makes him so good here. And, you look at the line that he's running, it's a little bit different than that of Justin Bolton. We talked about how Bolton sort of double apexes each corner, and, as the tires wear, he's moving up a little bit, but he's still running really well. Jeff Ward enters a little bit higher, lets the car drift up a little bit higher, and then makes one turn and goes. So 2 guys taking 2 different approaches to getting through these corners, and you have to modify that a little bit as you go on through the run. 67 laps in, you can't do what you were doing back on lap 7 with these older tires.
Times really fall off on these old tires. We started this race with middle of the 23-second mark. Now everybody's hitting the 25.5s, 25.4s. Everybody's, it's 2-second fall off for these tires. So when these drivers come back down pit road, they're probably going to be used to running slower lap times, and it takes them, once you get out of the 25s and back to the 23s, it's like a hard hit of fast-paced speed and all that sort of stuff.
You really feel like Superman. On new tires, you're flying through the field. You got to be careful not to use them up with all that grip available, because you got another long run that you have to make. And then you see the speed differential between guys on new tires, guys who haven't pitted yet, and that's sort of a recipe for disaster in itself. Rachel, we've talked about that a few times. So these guys really got to be on their toes. And I want to talk about a guy that we saw get into trouble earlier. That's Derek Paulson in the number 5, back up to 12th spot after his troubles there that brought out that last yellow flag. So the number 5, not all as fast as it probably should be. He's about 18.5 seconds back from the lead, but he's still up into 12th and has the opportunity to gain some more spots.
That's one of the big things, which is why it's so risky to get with pitting here under green, because it's 2 laps you'll spend on pit road before you get back out on track. You'll be 2 laps down, and then, wow, you got guys on new tires and old tires running on the same track, and the recipe for a caution is so much higher because of that speed differential. And yeah, it makes it really a tricky time.
The lead has shrunk under 1 second now for Justin Bolton as Jeff Ward continues to close in lap after lap. That time by, they're almost mirroring lap time. Sometimes Jeff Ward is about a 10th faster, but there's no cars between the 2 of them now. Jeff Ward is basically there, about 0.8 of a second as the scoring refreshes here. About 0.9 of a second, we'll say that time by. So Jeff Ward continues to hunt Justin Bolton. And this will carry through the next round of pit stops that we'll see for these leaders make their first time down pit road. We'll make sure to catch all of that. Who's going to be the first guy to blink? That's really going to set the tone. I think whoever comes down pit road first will probably drag the rest of the field with them.
If I had to predict, I'd say it would be somebody who's like in 6th or 7th place. Then once they go down pit road, the leaders may stay out a little bit longer. And then once they start rolling around the track and, you know, the supercars fly around on new tires, they'll want to come down and they want to take their turn at flying around with their new tires and all that sort of stuff. So I don't expect the top 2 to be the first ones to come down pit road. Usually they never are. Usually the first ones to come down pit road are usually the ones in the back of the field.
What do they call that, Rachel? The undercut, right? You try and beat a guy to pit road and short pit and get that new tire advantage to try and reduce the deficit that you were facing before you pitted. So perhaps we'll see that come into play. Maybe if you're a guy like Michael Cozy Jr., Spencer Preet, Mike Montesi running inside the top 5, but some, 4 seconds back, 10 seconds back, respectively, you got to try something to catch these guys.
It's the sort of thing I expect from the likes of Montesi, Preet, or Cozy because they are a little bit further back, but this track is incredibly tire sensitive. The pit window is incredibly narrow here, so long running it or short running it is very fatal for you as a driver, because either you come in too soon and you're burned out at the end of that run, or you come in a bit too late, at which point you've lost an advantage of the track and they've eaten up time on the new tires. So the window is about 3 or 4 laps when you can really come in for tires here, and it's very, very tight compared to some tracks where you've got like 10, 15 laps of window.
Yeah, staying out too long can definitely be the kiss of death for a race car driver, because the advantage you get from new tires is completely offset by whatever you lost on the track by staying out all that time. And we saw new tires can be worth as much as 2.5 seconds, almost 3 seconds per lap right now. So, when you're losing 2 to 2.5 seconds per lap, we'll say, to a guy on fresh tires, it doesn't take very long before you're way behind, even after you pit. It doesn't matter how good your tires are. They're going to, net out eventually. And so it's, like you said, a very tight window you have to stay in to try and make that strategy work. And we're here on lap 77 coming to 78. Still haven't seen them pit, so perhaps these guys are thinking they want to run this thing out of fuel before they hit pit road and just, struggle through whatever tires they have. And that'll be their strategy for this first stint.
A few drivers have been down pit road. Steve Ritter is down pit road. The number 5, Derek Paulson's also been down pit road, as well as the 21. He's been down pit road as well, and I believe the 8 car has, yes, the 8 car of Taylor Benjamin has also been down pit road. So we're actually seeing drivers coming down pit road around this time, most of them being in the back of the field, but pit stops are starting to become more and more of a thing, and we'll start seeing more of the front runners coming down pit road in the next about a couple laps or so.
I saw a big wiggle off of turn 2 for Jeff Ward there, wheeling that Mustang for all he's worth, trying to reel in Justin Bolton, and that lead has sort of fluctuated. It was down to 0.8. It got up over a second to almost 1.2, and that's back down to 0.8 again. So Jeff Ward just, sort of trying to match lap time. Sometimes he's faster, sometimes he's slower. But if you're Justin Bolton, you look at the timing and scoring and you say, gosh, I don't know if he's pushing as hard as he is or if I'm falling off too much or what, but Justin Bolton knows he's there.
Absolutely, he does, and right now it's not something he needs to think about. He has to look at his window and his times and how he's doing compared to other guys, and that's what really matters for him in the moment. With only 9 cars in the lead lap, you also want to try and leave it as long as possible within that very short window, because a caution, like I said, could wreck your race. As Preet dives for pit road there from the 4th place.
There you go, the first of our front runners to hit pit road is Spencer Preet. So he's given up that 4th position to head down pit road to get new tires, and we'll see how this thing cycles out for him, where ultimately he ends up. He was somewhere in the realm of, I don't know, I think 9 or 10 seconds back from the leaders when he made his pit stall. He got onto pit road a little bit extra sauce there, but I think he managed to keep it at pit road speed, so probably no black flag there. But that's what you got to do. You got to take a risk sometimes and get all you can. Getting onto pit road, you can really make up a lot of time, but getting from 155 miles an hour down to 35 in a short period of time is not easy to do. So we'll see how Spencer Preet shakes out. He's got to fix up some of that damage on the right front fender as well, but still up front, the top 2, Justin Bolton, Jeff Ward, neither of them have come down pit road yet. We're keeping an eye on them. We're on lap 83 coming to 84. I don't know how much longer they're going to push it, maybe to lap 90.
Well, the thing is with these drivers coming out that have new tires, they're going to be zooming around the track like Nothing. They're going to be 2 seconds faster than the leaders are running. And when they zoom around these cars, and when there's a mix of drivers who are running 2 seconds slower, this may cause some sort of chaos, because for the drivers who are running old tires and they're running 2 seconds slower, they may not know who has fresh tires or who doesn't have fresh tires. So it's tricky when you have green flag pit stops, and for people who are, you know, staying out longer and all that sort of stuff.
We see Jeff Ward in the number 9 down pit road this time by, so he pits on lap 84. So now he'll get his service, and he's decided this is when he needs to make it happen, and now we'll keep an eye on Justin Bolton, who stays on the racetrack. So now we'll have to see how long Justin Bolton stays out for that. But Rachel, we talked about this sort of starts the clock, and Justin
Problems
Bolton.
in turn 1. John Wilder is sideways. Oh, he saved it. No caution.
Big save. Right in the way of traffic and just made it out.
Ooh, that was scary. They went 3 wide into turn number 1. I figured someone was up with that, and Sean got a little love tap and set him sideways, but that was an amazing save by Sean. And we stay green, which, if a caution were to come out, that would have really helped out Justin. Not so much for the other drivers who were a lap down.
A last name like Wilder, we might have to call him Wild Thing after a save like that. That was a job well done. Very nicely done on his part. But as I was saying before, that little bit of drama broke out. The clock has to be sort of going now for Justin Bolton, knowing that Jeff Ward, his closest competition, has pitted. So it can only be a matter of laps before he comes down pit road, right, Rachel?
Probably 1 or 2 at most. I think it's really going to be a very tight matter for him. If not this time by, he's gone for the pass. But probably next time by, it's got to be likely at this point.
That's what we're all going to wait and see. Michael Cozy Jr. has not pitted yet either. Neither is Rick Thompson in the 29. Those are the 3 cars yet to take service on this round of pit stops. But really all eyes on Justin Bolton right now. How long will he push it? Remember, Jeff Ward was somewhere in the ballpark of 0.8 of a second behind him when Jeff Ward came to pit road. And here comes Spencer Preet. I see him in the back of the frame there in the 00, looking to unlap himself. And you'll see just what 2 seconds a lap is worth with fresh tires, as he will come into frame, passing by one more car. And he's going to make an absolute mincemeat of Justin Bolton here. Oh, he has to check up just a little bit. Had the line taken away from him. Justin Bolton there just sort of running the low side and really hung up Spencer Preet. So Preet will get by, and you see him accelerate away like he's got nitrous in the tank. But there he goes. But Justin Bolton continues to circulate the racetrack.
Yeah, getting it done very easily here. I'm surprised he stayed out, but he could be in his own strategy right now. We're, of course, nearly at halfway point to tonight's race, lap 91 here, so this thing is flying past for us today. The 2 cautions we had early on, they weren't a measure of things to come. They were the oddity, I think, in this race so far. We basically had about 80 laps. Here he comes now, Bolton down onto pit road on lap 91.
Well, there you have it. He pushed it about 6 laps past the time that Jeff Ward hit pit road, so we'll see what 6 laps on older tires will ultimately mean. But remember, on the flip side of things, Taylor, now that means that Justin Bolton will have 6-lap fresher tires once he completes the service. So undoubtedly, he'll probably start to track Jeff Ward down. I imagine Jeff Ward will have the lead after it's all said and done. Then the interesting part will be how long does it take for Justin Bolton to reel him in as Bolton comes to a stop in the pit stall and the service will get underway.
Well, for Justin Bolton, his long run speeds are incredibly fast. He was running like 25 like threes, which was probably one of the faster laps of the drivers who were running the same amount of tires. So his long run speed is incredible. Add on to the fact that he's going to have 6 laps of fresher tires. He's going to be chasing him down probably in the next. If we continue to have this long run, probably around like 40-50 laps into this run, may see him get close to the lead, if not already have the lead taken away. But once these green flag stops are cycled through and all that sort of stuff, we're probably going to be seeing a lot more battles for the lead than before.
Michael Cozy Jr. in the 99 has yet to come to pit road. He's got most of the field trapped 1 lap down, and that's going to be interesting to see how long he will stay out now in that 99. I know he's a fan favorite, and a lot of people like coming out to see Michael Cozy Jr. race, but interesting strategy here, Rachel, pushing it to lap 95 or further. Maybe he's just hoping for a yellow so he gets everyone trapped a lap down.
I think he is. That'd be a very clever move to make, of course, but right now, Yeah, it's probably a good idea to come down pit road. He'll have lost a few spots by staying out this long, but, well, his car's handling okay. His lap time 25.5 isn't actually the worst. It's on par with the end of a run, so, but like I said, that window's tight, so you get any much further than this, he's going to have some real problems.
Here comes Jeff Ward to unlap himself the natural way. We'll move around the outside coming off the turn 2, so that's one car less, a lap down, and we'll see how long Cozy Jr. stays out. But looking back to see where Justin Bolton is, he's almost a half a track behind Jeff Ward. Jeff Ward coming through 3 and 4 right now. He's at the line now, and Justin Bolton's just coming through 3 and 4, so basically a full straightaway behind Jeff Ward, or a little bit more than that. So that's about 5 seconds, as I'm told by Brett Wheeler. Thank you, sir. So that tells you what those 6 laps meant. Ultimately, he was 1 second ahead. Now he's 5 seconds behind. That's the value of new tires for Jeff Ward.
And we just got to see when Michael Cozy's going to come down pit road, because he still has to make his stop. As of right now, there are 11 cars 1 lap down and several others that are 2 or more laps down. As soon as I say that, Travis Brown now puts himself back to 1 lap down, as well as Sean Wilder. So many drivers are unlapping themselves, and Cozy has went down pit road. So now the green flag pit stops have finally cycled through for the most part. Now we just got to see where everybody's gonna be at.
Yep, that'll be the last bullet in the chamber for Michael Cozy Jr. Just couldn't stand it anymore. He's probably pretty close to being out of gas. That's an impressive bit of conservation there to make 98 laps on fuel. That's almost, well, half of the race right there. So put the lead back in the hands of Jeff Ward. Actually, for the first time tonight, put the lead into the hands of Jeff Ward. So that's a new leader here for you tonight. And Justin Bolton will slide into second. Now, we said a few laps ago, he was 5 seconds back. Now that gap has shrunk to 3.8. And I guess now that we're done with the green flag pit stops, well, that's as good a time as any to take our midway race break as we approach lap 100. So let's take a look at our iRacing midway race break. Brought to you by iRacing, the world's premier online racing game, with professionally organized racing from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, and more. So as they run here at lap 100, it is Jeff Ward out front in the number 9. Justin Bolton, who has led the bulk of this race, runs second. Spencer Preet is in third. Steve Ritter up to fourth. Mike Montesi runs fifth. Taylor Butcher Benjamin is in sixth. Derek Paulson continuing his good fight. He's up to seventh. Rick Thompson's up to eighth. Michael Cozy Jr. just made his green flag pit stop. He's back to ninth. And Kyle Vincent Gilbert currently running 10th.
P11 tonight at the moment is going to be Travis Brown with Sean Wilder in 12th. Troy Radford in the 13th spot. Zachary Sprung in 14th. Ashton Schleiss is in 15th with Brad Collins 16th to the last car 1 lap down. 2 laps down, Jay Goes Jr. in 17th with John Johnson, Jason Anderson and Doug Johnson in 20th.
Brian McRae will be in 21st. Fred Thompson 22nd. Mark Arthur, who was the cause of the first caution tonight, is 23rd, 11 laps down, and 24th. Matt Ridgway, 13 laps down, and 3 drivers who are currently out of the race. Mark Digman is 25th, Jonathan Smith 26th, and Kevin Dye in 27th.
That's been a look at your iRacing at midway race break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities online, visit iRacing.com to sign up today. So there you have it, top to bottom as they run right now. Jeff Ward, the man out front, and something we've seen a lot of already this season. But Justin Bolton, little by little, is creeping his way in, now 2 seconds back. So we said 6-lap tires was quite the difference. He came out 5 seconds behind, but now with the fresh rubber advantage over Jeff Ward, he is reeling him back in, Rachel, and it should be only a matter of time before he gets to the back bumper of the number 9, but Jeff Ward doing a nice job out front right now.
Yeah, absolutely doing a fantastic job and doing a really decent effort of it, but it's going to, of course, cycle through this thing eventually, and Ward just came a little bit earlier, better for the tyres for him. Bolton has slightly newer tyres, but he's a little bit further back, and that gap, not too huge. I think he'll catch him.
What I'm being told from Brett Wheeler is about 1.3 seconds per lap between Jeff Ward and Justin Bolton as Michael Cozy Jr. unlaps himself there. So 1.3 seconds per lap, that's pretty substantial when you think about it, and it won't be long before the 76 gets to the back bumper there of the 9, and Jeff Ward's got his hands full with some lap traffic right now, and I think all in all, you know, before it's all said and done, Justin Bolton will probably inherit this lead back, as well he should. But that sets up, you know, you think about, well, when are they going to make their final pit stop? Is it going to be another long stint? Are they going to wait until lap 170, 180? Or are they going to try and cut the run in half and maybe do, you know, somewhere around lap 150?
May even see somebody try and stretch it the whole rest of the way, because they nearly pitted with halfway to go. So maybe we'll see somebody like Michael Cozy, who pitted just a couple laps before the halfway point, tried to stick it the whole rest of the way. He went almost 100 laps on these tires. Possibly do it, could possibly do it now, but he's going to need a caution for that. But even then, I think he'll be down pit road to get new tires anyway.
Justin Bolton having a whale of a time getting through the traffic as well. I believe that was the 16 of Steve Ritter he was working past. But we're going to take a moment to step away and take care of some business here. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with continuing coverage of the Chocolate Lovers 200 here for the SESRA Series, Dover International Speedway. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these messages.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back to Dover International Speedway, LSRTV's coverage of the SESRA Series, race number 7 here at Dover, the Chocolate Lovers 200. And when we stepped away, Justin Bolton was reeling in Jeff Ward at a pretty good clip. That lead has shrunk now down to only a half a second. Jeff Ward out front in the number 9 trying to hold off the advances of Justin Bolton, that 76. But Rachel, we've talked about it, that tire advantage, 6-lap fresher tires for Justin Bolton are going to play a factor here, and it's only a matter of time before he gets to them.
It absolutely is, and you know, on track there, he's doing exactly what he can to try and get his gap as small as possible for him. And you know, as we cross the line, that gap is going to be under half a second again. It's going to be even smaller this time by, and we're looking at 0.290 seconds. That is super close, but look at this right now, right on the back bumper of him there. Justin Bolton doesn't need his timing to tell just how close he is there to Jeff Ward, but you know who does need timing? Us regular drivers. pit crew, people at the spotter stands, and of course, the engineers for these guys, of course. And you know how they do that? They use, well, dual real timing, of course. Where else would you go? It's the go-to timing and scoring software for iRacing. It's the official partner of LSRTV, and you can get it for free at joel-real-timing.com, as these guys are really getting together on the track there. joel-real-timing.com, or you can pick up the premium version, which has so many more features to help you be almost as good as these two, if you also happen to be a good driver.
Well, there you have it, Joel Real Timing. For us normies, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah, read.
Well, you know, this battle's starting to get really exciting. Jeff Ward loose again off of 2. That's been a common theme here tonight, as Justin Bolton goes right into the tire tracks, getting right up to the left rear quarter panel there. Let him know he's there, and they're going to try and go side by side. Hard to make it happen there, but Jeff Ward definitely under pressure here as he dives in, and look out for the 88. Oh, that is close moments there as well.
Lap traffic plus the stress of the second place car being on your tail. Jeff Ward is going to be growing a lot of gray hairs tonight.
Yikes, that was a close call with the 88 of Doug Johnson, and these guys have to work their way through this lap traffic, and Jeff Ward trying to use these guys as a pick as they're too wide in front of Justin Bolton now. And Jeff Ward's going to try and squirt away as best he can and use that to his advantage, but I think, Rachel, it might just be a state of execution at this point, as Justin Bolton is just so much faster, and even with the tire advantage helping him, lap cars or not, it's only a matter of time before that 76 takes over the lead, but yeah, Jeff Ward's putting up a pretty valiant fight, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff Ward's doing great, but it's really hard to pass even for the lead here at this place, and it's considering how fast they are together. I think Bolton's going to have to use lap traffic as a pick to get through him, and well, there's plenty of that in front of him.
Yeah, a lot of lap cars. Speaking of lapped cars, there's more of them than lead lap cars at this point. Only 4 cars left on the lead lap as they run. Jeff Ward, Justin Bolton, of course, your top 2. And then it's some 16 seconds back to 3rd place Spencer Preet, which is almost impossible to fathom. The driver who's got 2 wins to his credit this year, being 16.5 seconds back from the leaders in 3rd place. And Michael Cozy Jr., who ran that super long first stint, some 18.5 seconds back in 4th. Mike Montesi's in 5th, and he's the first car a lap down. So a lot of guys a lap down. That just tells you the type of pace that Jeff Ward and Justin Bolton are running around Dover International Speedway. It's just, you have to take a step back and just appreciate and respect what they're able to do out there.
Absolutely phenomenal pace they're setting, and to be honest, it gives these guys a real bar to raise themselves to. The rest of this field, they're all doing fantastic jobs, but you know, you want to be these guys, and I think everyone on the racetrack does. And when you get really, really fast drivers in the series, it just brings the general level of the series up, because people are seeing their lines, they're following in their footsteps and their wheel tracks. It really helps them.
Certainly does, and you know, perhaps at this point, Taylor, it's Justin Bolton taking some mental notes on Jeff Ward, what he's doing as he dives to the bottom here, but sort of recognizing, you know, where that 9 car is strong, where it's not as strong this point into the run, so he knows how to set up his last stint after he takes tires for the last time, as once again he tries to make a move on the bottom. It just doesn't pan out. I think he's not taking as much as he could right now, just being very patient with Jeff Ward, but knowing that he has the better pace overall.
What I'm seeing from what I'm seeing from Justin right now, he's trying to intimidate Jeff into making a mistake. He's getting really close to the back bumper. He's trying to make Jeff overdrive the corner, because he's got to the back bumper at least a couple times, not only in this battle, but a couple laps ago before they got into that lap traffic mess. Justin is just trying to make Jeff make a mistake here as he gets real close to the back bumper, looking to the inside now, and I think now he'll be able to clear him, and yes, he has. And now Bolton has pulled away a little bit, but Jeff Ward is right on his tail, so maybe Jeff Ward can give up the lead, but he's not going to give it up without a fight, that's for sure.
Now, there's certainly no quit in that number 9, if I know Jeff Ward half as well as I think I do. Just from seeing him race here over the last 6 races in the SESRA series, but knowing that he can't keep up. Not with the tires that he has, 6 laps does make a huge difference. But I think you're right. I think that there was a little bit of gamesmanship being played there, as Justin Bolton said, hey, I know I'm faster. I'm just going to sit here and ride behind you, make you drive harder than you want to, maybe force you into a mistake. And maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Maybe I'm trying to make a storyline that doesn't exist, Rachel, and feel free to tell me if I'm wrong. But, you know, if you're Justin Bolton, you know you sort of got this thing in a good spot. Why wouldn't you try to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. And Justin Bolton doesn't need to run flat out now. He's seen Jeff Ward's pace. He's seen the other guy's pace. He saw Spencer Preet's pace. Justin Bolton needs to just back it down now. Just run what he has to run. And not any harder. Don't race flat out. Race to the guy behind you. Maintain a steady gap. And just keep it there. Because that way, if you are running to the guy behind you's speed, he's running flat out. And you've got extra in the bag.
Well, Justin Bolton's been in this position before back at Atlanta. We talked about it a few times, and situations out of his control prevented him from having a better showing there. And he said the word redemption a few times early on for him as well. And if he sees this thing through to the end and gets himself to victory lane, that'll probably be the word I'll get to try and come out of his mouth. See if he agrees with that or if he just looks at it as another race. He's been around a long time, done a lot of great things in some very competitive leagues, but he's got himself a whale battle here with Jeff Ward, as I'm sure he expected to have. But these two have definitely been the class of the field, and anything short of another caution coming out, I don't see how this race really goes a different way than these two fighting it out. But Taylor, we look at it, we've got less than 70 laps to go now. If you're Jeff Ward and you're at a tire deficit at this point, how do you set up? When do you make that last pit stop?
Just got to base it off of what everybody else is pitting. I'm not entirely sure what Jeff could be thinking or what Justin could be thinking with pit stop wise. Michael Cozy or Spencer Preet could possibly be coming down a little bit earlier than the leaders, try and do what like short pitting style or whatever, because they're almost 20 seconds behind the leaders. They got nothing to lose other than going a lap down and maybe losing a couple other positions, but they'll quickly get those laps back. But for Ward, I have no clue how to really set up for the next pit stop or whatsoever. If this race just continues to go green, which at this pace we'll be going green the rest of the way, I'm seeing a lot of close racing, but I don't see a whole lot of close racing that'll turn into wrecks. I think the only close call that we've had today was the 91 earlier, but if this race just continues to go green, which at this pace it is, just gotta... I don't really know the strategy for Ward. He's probably gonna go down whenever he thinks it's the right time, and he's just gonna give it all he can. Probably do the same thing that Justin has, and try and get the tire advantage on him. Try and wait 6 laps longer than Justin, and try and pit and play his game.
All right, fair enough. Rachel, I'll put the same question to you. If you're in Jeff Ward's shoes or holding his steering wheel, what are you doing as far as strategy?
Well, not sure right now. The strategy call for me is try and run as fast as I can, but use that traffic to get a pick. If I can get ahead, there's a good chance I could stay ahead. He knows he's a little bit faster on the pit cycle as... Oh, caution changes everything.
Didn't mean to interrupt you there.
And we're in a pit window, theoretically, here, actually.
That's big for Spencer Preet, who is just about to go a lap down at that very moment, so the caution definitely saves him. So he'll stay on the lead lap. It's good for Michael Cozy Jr. as well, who'll be on the lead lap. Mike Montesi will probably get the free pass, but replay on your screen here is Kyle Vincent Gilbert in the 227. And just looks like the 21 grabs a little bit of the outside wall down the front straightaway. That's Zachary Sprung, just a little bit of a mistake. And he tries to pull it off the wall, and there's 2 cars right there, and he just can't do that. Sort of body slams the 227 of KVG, sends him nose first in the inside wall. No other cars get collected there, but that definitely will trigger a yellow flag, our 3rd of the evening. So a tough break for Kyle Vincent Gilbert. Not the type of run we expect to see out of the 227, but he gets a free trip to the inside wall.
Well, whatever I said about the green flag run, that's quickly been scrapped.
It can happen just that quickly, and usually if we talk about it, the opposite will happen. That's just sort of the broadcaster's curse that we bring each and every week here. But now, Rachel, we look at this. These guys are, well, they're going to pit. I mean, that's it. There's no reason not to pit here. You take your final stop, you take your tires, and it's going to be a duel, a shootout for Justin Bolton, Jeff Ward, and this will drag Spencer Preet and Michael Cozy Jr. back into the equation as well.
Jeff Ward has stayed out, but Justin Bolton has went down pit road. Not so sure what the strategy call is there. Maybe Jeff is staying out. Maybe Jeff's going to come down before the green flag.
It's going to be an interesting call, that's for sure. I mean, green flag, yellow flag stop here with us in the window. I think most people will come down, to be honest, but it means we've had our short run in the middle, which isn't bad. But this would definitely lean the advantage towards Jeff Ward. So if basically Bolton goes in, I'm coming in. But Bolton being in second has the advantage here of the who do I go, don't I go, do I go, don't I go attitude of what's going to happen. So,
I guess you could say Jeff Ward was a sit and duck. Whatever he did, the others were going to do the opposite of. So now he's in a really bad position. The only thing
not a good
he's
call
looking
there.
forward to is a caution at this point. That's all that he really needs is a yellow, because I think he played this strategy earlier in the year too. Maybe at Charlotte when he got the win. We expected him to pit sooner, and he didn't, and then he got a yellow and was able to pit and got fresher tires and just drove away from everybody. So interesting turn of events here.
Well, the thing is he still has one set of tires. Bolton does not, so if we have a late race caution, that'll definitely help out Jeff Ward, because Justin will not be able to go down pit road and grab tires and cancel out that strategy. Instead, it's going to all play out in Jeff's favor. So all Jeff needs is a caution, and he'll possibly be ending the race as the one, maybe the winner, if not getting a easy top two. But a really interesting call, and looking forward to seeing how this plays out.
Rachel, do you think Jeff Ward even thought about pitting, or do you think he was committed to staying out no matter what?
I think he was committed. The drivers will have their strategy in their mind, but when you get a caution this sort of timing, it really makes you question what you're doing. I don't know. It's a very tough call to make, and it's... I don't think he really had I think he wanted to stick to his strategy, but I also think he was seriously questioning going in. I think he made the right call staying out. I think this could be the best call. If it goes green to the end, he might be screwed heavily because nobody else will need to stop. And that's a really big worry. But at the same time, there's a good chance of a caution, but it's a risk. Like I said, this could go green to the end and nobody else needs to pit. That's the big concern.
That's a tricky thing to figure out as the lights are out atop the pace car. You're praying for something that's out of your control. A yellow flag, you have, unless you wreck a guy, you really have no control over a caution flag coming out. So that's what your strategy rests on, is something that you have to hope happens. Whereas the rest of these guys pitted, they don't have to worry about strategy. They got their tires, they're going to the end no matter what. So they just got to race what's available to them out there. Yeah, I mean, I think Jeff Ward is going to be pretty slow here, having not pitted and have guys around him on fresher tires like Justin Bolton and Spencer Preet, Mike Montesi in the 7 as well, and Michael Cozy Jr. in the 99. Those are going to be your lead lap cars as we get ready for this next restart. So Jeff Ward's only prayer at getting a shot at this win, short of everybody wrecking out, is going to be a yellow flag where he can come in and take that final set of tires. Otherwise, he's going to be hurting for a while. But let's see how it plays out here as they're going to wave off the yellow flag. My goodness, that was a late decision there, but they wave off the restart here.
I think another issue that we may see is wheel spin. I know that a lot of drivers went down pit road, but I assume other than the 9, maybe a couple other drivers stayed out. And if they did, then they're probably going to have wheel spin. And even then, we've seen it at the initial start. We had a little bit of wheel spin up at the front of the field.
One thing to take note of, we've got mixed tires here. We've got new tires, we've got old tires, and this is one of those places where it could be a huge problem.
It's going to cause a huge checkup wherever the lane may be, which we may see it on the inside, and we're probably going to be seeing it on the outside. A huge checkup, especially in the front row on the inside. And it's going to be a crazy restart nonetheless. Probably one of the craziest restarts in Dover history.
Well, we've seen the outside lane, I think, struggle more than the inside lane as far as restarts and available grip. Now with a car on the worst tires in the field, pretty much, and Jeff Ward on the inside lane, Michael Cozy Jr. sitting behind him, has got to be feeling very anxious as to what's about to happen on this restart. He's got to be ready for anything, especially if the 9 breaks traction and has to check out of the throttle and cause that huge checkup. But it could easily happen in the outside lane as well. They could have mirroring checkup effect. We don't know. We're about to find out in about 5 seconds. Jeff Ward is down and away, using the lead to his advantage. It's a good, clean restart for the front 2 rows, and they're side by side. Jeff Ward leads him across the
back
stripe.
up in the back. We had a big problem just then. I think that was with the drivers of the 16 and around him 29 and Ricky Thompson as well, who got very close. In fact, they bumped fenders there getting out of their starts.
Anxious moments. They keep it green right now and put Michael Cozy Jr. out to the lead. Justin Bolton second. Here comes Spencer Preet hot on his tail for third. Of course, Jeff Ward's going to fall back to fourth out of all that just because of the tires that he has on the vehicle. Mike Montesi will bypass him as well, and so Jeff Ward will start his free fall through the field. We'll keep an eye up front in these top three. Justin Bolton, the sandwich, or the meat in the sandwich, I should say. Spencer Preet back to his aggressive ways, trying to find a way around, but it's Michael Cozy Jr., much to the delight of many people watching here tonight, out front in the 99.
How these guys are racing, Jeff Ward may actually get that caution he needs, because I'm seeing a lot of more aggressive racing that definitely was not seen earlier in the race.
Well, the time to go is now. If you're going to go, we're getting down into 55 laps to go. Last time by, Derek Paulson will work his way past Jeff Ward as well. It's just a freight train. Ward giving a lot of room up on the outside lane as guys work their way past underneath of him, and right now he just has to be very, very patient and hope these guys get past him cleanly, but he's losing so much time, Rachel, to the leaders. It won't be long before he's going to be in danger of going a lap down, at which point he'll be forced to pit and take those tires, but unless he gets a caution in the next, I don't know, 10, 15 laps, he's really going to be in rough shape.
Yeah, this is a danger spot for him, and this is the disadvantage of not having taken tires. He's just falling through this field right now of the guys who have taken tires, and Ward's got to be praying, and he really now is needing to pray, because that caution will be his godsend. He'll be back in the pack, but he'll fly past these cars. It's just going to happen very, very soon with less than 50 to go in 3 laps. Yeah, he's just, look at him. He's on an anchor tied to his car right now.
It's a very frustrating position to be in as a race car driver, knowing you've been a top 2 car all night long and had great speed, but here you are with the tire disadvantage working against you, and you can't do anything. You're the slowest car out there, and just shipping off positions and track position wholesale, losing time to the leaders as Michael Cozy Jr. continues to lead this field around. Now coming up 50 laps to go next time by. I'm keeping an eye on that 99. I see him blinking every once in a while. That's got to be a little worrisome. He's had connection issues in the past this season, and you hate to see something like that develop here again. It's a bit Justin Bolton as well, so potential issues in the making for the 99, but so far holding steady as he grabs a little piece of that outside wall. He's pushing hard in that 99.
I saw a little bit of contact in the back of the field there. I think that was Steve Ritter again that got a little bit of bumping and almost went completely sideways, so Jeff Ward almost had his prayers answered, but still green. So still waiting for the caution for Jeff Ward.
That's the rough part about that strategy is you're hoping for something that, like I said, is out of your control, and that's a very tough way to race. And of course, Jeff Ward's thinking, gosh, if only I had pitted, but he had no way to know. He just didn't have any way to know, and you're in a tough position when you're out front. The guys are going to do opposite of what you do, and if his mind was made up to not pit, he's made his bet. He's got to lay in it at this point, and eventually it'll prove out one way or the other. Either he'll get his caution and he'll pit, or he won't, and he won't be on the podium when it's all said and done. But, you know, looking at the top 3 right now, very equal between these 3 drivers, Michael Cozy Jr., Justin Bolton, and Spencer Preet. Spencer Preet making a great comeback after scraping the wall pretty hard earlier in this run. That caution really helped him out. But Michael Cozy Jr. holding serve Justin Bolton. You think Rachel sort of biding his time, knowing he's better than these 2 guys and just taking care of the equipment right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's just doing exactly that. And second place isn't a bad place to be. Cozy Jr. can set the pace. It takes a little bit of pressure off Bolton. But I think right now they're all wondering what happens if a caution comes out. And they don't want to see it happen. Apart from Jeff Ward, who desperately does. Because in about 10 seconds time of lap worth, in fact, he'll be down a lap, and that puts him in a whole different problem.
Yeah, once he loses that lap, it's I don't think there's much left. He's losing a second and a half per lap at this point, and well, you can do the math. They're doing 24-second laps. That's that goes by pretty quickly. You're going to be a lap down very quickly. I'm not going to do the math in my head, much to the chagrin of my boss, I'm sure. But Spencer Preet holding serve in third there. Could sneak his way into a podium position. I don't think he quite has the car with that damage on the right front to contend with those top 2, but pretty impressed with what Michael Cozy Jr. is able to do right now. Taylor, he's doing a great job out front, knows he's got a very fast driver behind him, but not letting that get into his head. He's just running his own race out front.
Gotta wonder if Michael Cozy is wondering if Justin's going to be playing the intimidating game like he did to get around Jeff Ward around the green flag pits, green flag stops, but No, with Mike Cozy, you just got to run calm. You have a fast car behind you. You're coming up on lap traffic. You still have 45, 44 laps to go. You have a lot of time to gain time on Justin Bolton. You have time to gain on everybody, and there's still that chance of a caution. Every lap it gets more and more slim to none of a chance, but doesn't mean that it can't happen. We've seen when we had that long run, even I thought that we were gonna have probably this race was gonna go green the entire way, but as soon as I ended that sentence and all that sort of stuff, we had a caution. So if this race continues to go green, then we're probably gonna be seeing these two duking it out for the win, just like we saw with Justin Bolton and Jeff Ward. There's a couple of or several laps ago during the green flag pit stops.
Look at it, Jeff Ward's timing and scoring right now. He was about 18.5 seconds behind Michael Cozy Jr. last time by, and as he comes across the line one more time, that is going to increase to about 19.3. So again, 25-second laps. It's only going to be a handful of laps, Rachel, until he's in danger of going a lap down, and at that point, I think he has to come down pit road, take a service, and swallow that pill finally, just praying something goes wrong. But so far, once again, the drivers of SESRA are really clean and not making that thing work out for him.
No, and that's going to be a big problem, and he doesn't want that to happen, of course, and I think this would be the great time for it to happen. It's almost a guarantee with the mixed tyres you've got in the field, but everyone's so spread out right now. Jeff Ward has to be kicking himself because he's just cost himself a chance at this thing. Although we've got some guys who are pretty close together. The 88 and the 16 are side by side right now. Of course, there's Steve Ritter and the 88 Doug Johnson down the line, but 16 gets past, no particular worries. Yeah, this is not shaping up to be the race that he wanted, but if he gets a late race caution, he might just be okay. But look at that, he's 21 seconds back already. The leaders are coming up behind him right now, and that's going to be absolutely heartbreaking for Jeff Ward to go down that lap.
Not something we've seen yet this season, and definitely unfamiliar territory for Jeff Ward, but here he comes to pit road. He didn't even wait that long. He got on hard onto pit road. He was sideways across the timing line. So we'll see if potentially he might be facing a speeding penalty if he wasn't at the right speed there. But Michael Cozy Jr. working his way through, gives a shot to Kyle Vincent Gilbert. Get out of the way, he says. I'm coming through, and you're in the way. So Michael Cozy Jr. not taking any hostages as he works past the lap traffic. But Jeff Ward didn't wait until he got lapped. He knew his goose was cooked at that point. He came down pit road to get that service. So we'll see what happens over the course of the next 35 laps or so. But for Jeff Ward, at best, he might get a top 10 out of this thing, but certainly not the finish he thought he was going to get.
Well, he's going to have about 30 to 40 laps of fresher tires. He could be zooming around this field pretty quickly. Probably get back
Nowhere near enough. He'll be down at least a lap and a half at this point. Maybe 2 laps, to be honest, with him being that close to the end. Maybe the top 5, but look at that, 2 laps down. He's back on the racetrack, but he's not going to pull that back. But it's really not looking possible.
It's going to be tough for him to get back. It's going to be tough for him to get back to 1 lap down, let alone enough time to get back around again and all that sort of stuff. So Jeff Ward is probably just going to coast his way to a top 10 with how fast that car is going to be around this this track now.
Looking at the running order, there are only 9 cars above 2 laps down. So the first car 2 laps down is in 10th. That's Troy Radford in the 51. So, I mean, Jeff Ward, even to get to a top 10, is really going to have to step up the pace, which I'm sure he'll do over the course of 35 laps. But it's a lot of positions to make up, and he's got to be careful, even with those new tires. You come up on a guy a lot faster than you think you're going to, and he may not necessarily know you're coming. If he's looking out the windshield, not in the mirror, and you run into him, you have an incident. So Jeff Ward doesn't want to be the yellow that he needs to save his race. He wants it to happen somewhere else if it's going to happen. But that's 1 more car off the lead lap, and we're back down to 4 cars. Mike Montesi up to 4th. Spencer Preet about 2.5 seconds back from the leader. So once again, top 2 really checking out. And it's just that just completely changed the whole complexion of this race, Rachel. We thought it was going to be Jeff Ward versus Justin Bolton, and then the yellow flew, and it changed everything.
Yeah, it really did, and unfortunately that's one of those things in racing. Sometimes the strategy calls the wrong one, and it might be that you are the fastest driver on the track or one of the fastest, but not much you can do in those cases. You're just unfortunately unlucky, and it's a matter of luck. And he was out front at the time. It was one of those problem times of, do I come in, don't I come in, can I react? I can't react. I've got to decide before anybody else because there's no one who I can follow. So unfortunate, but it is what it is.
And looking at how this might affect the point standings, the bigger picture of the championship on the line here, Jeff Ward came into tonight's race as the points leader. He was up over Derek Paulson by 11 points, up 13 over Spencer Preet. Now, Derek Paulson has had his own share of issues here tonight. He's currently running up in the 8th position, and Spencer Preet is up to 3rd. So Spencer Preet is in a position to benefit greatly from some bad luck falling to the 5 and the 9. He can make up some big ground here in the championship tonight. I think Derek Paulson has done a nice job to recover, even after starting 23rd and getting into a wreck running 8th, with an opportunity to maybe even get into the top 5. But Jeff Ward in a position to lose a lot of points in this championship. Thankfully, he's got 2 wins under the belt, but these are the types of races that can really allow your competition to come back into play.
Definitely the point standings are going to be shaking up a lot after this race. But it seems like every week the points just shake up in a blender.
That's a good way to put it. I think some drivers might come out of Dover feeling like they were put through a blender for 200 laps. You know, after getting through this race, I mean, they haven't had a lot of yellow flags to the driver's credit, and even a lot of green flag laps can be pretty exhausting. But, you know, we look up front, Michael Cozy Jr. just continues to set good lap times. Justin Bolton just kind of sitting there in second. I'm wondering how much he's holding back at this point is Justin Bolton. We've seen an immense amount of speed out of the driver of the number 76 here tonight. Certainly been better than Michael Cozy Jr. in most junctures of the race. And now that here they are on equal tires, and I think Bolton's just demonstrating a lot of patience, maybe trying to lull Michael Cozy Jr. into one of those false senses of security once again, like he tried to do to Spencer Preet earlier in this race, as he might make the move here one of these times, or maybe just hope Cozy Jr. makes a mistake on his own and he doesn't have to worry about it.
Part of me was thinking that Bolton was saving up his tires a little bit easier than Michael was, because Michael's kind of driving his stuff a little harder than Justin is, and Justin may have been saving his stuff for now because he's on the back bumper playing the intimidating game like he did with Jeff Ward earlier. Now, the issue with this is Michael Cozy is having a little bit of connection issues, and that could lead to an accident.
And everything changes.
Hey, caution
Not
flag.
not enough, of course, for Jeff Ward. He's 2 laps down. He can wave one, but it's going to get tough here. But a late caution again, and he's suddenly in a magical position, and he's not even the first car lap down for a lucky dog yet. So, although if he gets the wave now, he can get a lucky dog the next time by if we get another one. But what's the caution we just had?
It's going to be what I see is the number 29 of Rick Thompson and the 77 of Fred Thompson. A little Thompson on Thompson violence here off of turn 4. It looks like the 77 didn't quite get up to the wall on exit like he might have expected to have been, and led to a little bit of contact there for Rick coming through in the 29. That's going to send him into the inside barrier. The 77 goes. So that's what I see. Was there another incident on track with the 91 as well? All right, so the 91 came through after we saw Jeff Ward in the frame there as well. So a close call for Jeff Ward as these guys have that skirmish down the front straightaway. But seems to be off of turn 4 is where most of these guys have found their issues, and that's just 2 cars coming together. Rachel, with, you know, you expect a car to go out to the wall on corner exit. He doesn't do that, and you run your exit. And Sean Wilder came in, the 28 I saw piled in as well. So tough break for those guys, but that's just racing at Dover.
Yeah, absolutely is, and this is one of those things that will happen, but this is where things start to get definitely interesting. A lot of guys now on older tyres, they can't pit anymore, so this could be a very, very crazy restart maybe for us, so we'll have to see how this one does play out. But at the same time, Jeff Ward's praying this is a crazy restart, because, you know, he's going to wave around and want to go here, hopefully. Oh wait, he can't. No, everybody came in. So unfortunately right now, he's trapped 2 laps down, although he's closer now on fresher tyres. He might be able to get past the leaders, which could be useful if he survives this wreck. He's going to have some very, very favourable luck here to get anything out of this.
Yeah, the amount of stars that would have to align for Jeff Ward to find something positive come out of the next 20 laps or so, I'm not sure even exists at this point. That would be a tall ask for sure, but, you know, all it does, I think, is it brings, you know, Spencer Preet closer to the top 2 again. It brings Mike Montesi closer in. Travis Brown will get the beneficiary of the free pass. But I think it still comes down to these top 2 drivers, and, you know, they're still on equal tires, so I don't think tires really come into this because nobody's going to pit. So it's just going to be Cozy v. Bolton, like it's been for much of the last 30 to 40 laps. So I guess take your bets now of who you think is going to come out on top. But this could be the spiciest restart that we see yet here tonight.
It's going to be the most eventful restart. And we're going to have 21 or 22 to go when we actually get this restart. So if by my predictions, with how long these runs have been, this will more than likely be our final caution period.
Oh, don't
hopefully.
go jinxing it now. Come on.
Making a prediction. Hopefully I'm not jinxing it. I hate jinxing stuff, and I jinxed it earlier. Hopefully I'm not jinxing it now. So.
I hope you're right. I hope it is the last restart. I really like to see green flag finishes. I don't want to see, them end under yellow. Nobody wants to see that. But I don't know. I'm hard pressed to think that we're done with yellow flags now that everyone. Rachel, I mean, you've done this a million times. You've got a zillion laps under your belt. Race car drivers, when you get down to the end of these things, they just go nuts, especially when a win is in sight. And for Michael Cozy Jr., really wants to pull down this win. If he can beat Justin Bolton, I mean, it would be his first win of the season, but to say he beat Justin Bolton fair and square heads up, I mean, my goodness, that's quite the accomplishment in its own right.
The fewer laps, there's actually a mathematical equation. Number of laps divided by age of tyres divided by number of vehicles in the field to the square root of the brains in the entire pack. That will give us the exact number of cautions we see to the end of this race, and I guarantee it's probably one or more.
I mean, I'm an accountant by trade, and I can't do that math. The number
Trust
I
me, the
arrive
math
at
works. It's 4.7 or something strange, but we'll leave it out to a nice round 7.
Fair enough. I like that. That's bringing a little bit of math into racing. Not that there isn't much math, or not that there isn't math as it is already when it comes to racing, but that's a new one. I haven't heard that one before, so thank you. I appreciate it, and we'll see how it plays.
Long story short,
here.
the less laps there are, the more they're going to try and push, and the harder they're going to wreck.
I thought it was one of those, exponential lines going up and to the right as laps went down, insanity went up. I thought it was one of those types of relationships.
Can be, but, the insanity is, let's call it a logarithmic curve.
Fair enough. There you have it. If that's not enough math for you, I don't know what to tell you. Pace car makes the hard left-hand turn onto pit road. We're coming to 21 laps to go. Michael Cozy Jr. is on the gas. Spencer Preet is up the tailpipe, pushing him down the front straightaway. And it's going to be...
Oh, problems! No, not quite. They just about survive it narrowly, but that was nearly the caution I predicted.
Almost. They kept it straight somehow. I don't know exactly how, but Justin Bolton takes the lead away on the high side off of turn 2. Here comes Mike Montesi inside of the 00 for third. Michael Cozy Jr. will fade back to second, put Montesi up to third. Spencer Preet back to fourth. A wild restart there as these four have checked out, but absolute calamity behind them as well. But somehow we're still under green.
I was watching the restart of the 99 of Michael Cozy Jr. He was having really, really bad wheel spin, and that's what costed him a lot of momentum, so that's how he doesn't have the lead. He had a whole lot of wheel spin, and he was able to keep it safe and able to lead him into turn number 1, but as soon as they got out of turn number 1, he just did not have enough speed for to keep up with Justin Bolton.
We knew it was going to come down to some tire spin on these older tires, who was going to be able to manage it the best, and Michael Cozy Jr. not able to rein it in as well as he needed to. Spencer Preet has gotten back by Mike Montesi, so put Preet back up to third, but Justin Bolton out front exactly where he wants to be. Now he's got 19, coming to 18 to go as he's going to set the pace here. Can Michael Cozy Jr. mount a charge to eat into that lead and reel in the 76? That's what he's going to set out to do over these next 18 laps, but Justin Bolton has been in control much of this race, Rachel. Now he's back out front, and I imagine that's going to be a very tall order to wrestle it away.
Well, this is where he wants to be, of course, and he's going to be a very strong driver to try and beat, and the gap already opening up. It's going to be a bit too much for Michael Cozy Jr. to hang on to, so that is definitely something he has to keep his mind on. As other cars come into the field, one of those being Jeff Ward, trying to prove he can get back to the front at least in this instance, but right now the cars are very close as, wow, there goes Ward past. I think that was one of the lead lap drivers at the moment. That was possibly Montesi. It was. So he's only 3 cars behind the leaders, and he could get himself involved in this equation. He might not be on their lap, but he wants to prove to them he's faster than them, more importantly.
Well, I think tires have a big part to play in his ability to just missile his way through the field. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not going to get a win, you're not going to get a podium, at least you got to do something for your ego or your pride to finish off the race, something to feel good about, and and build on for next week when, well, next week's really going to be interesting. We're going to be turning left and right as we will head to Watkins Glen. We'll talk about that in the post-race. But, yeah, Jeff Ward looking for some shred of a pride to pull out of this event. It's not going to be the finish that he wanted or probably deserved, but that's the hand he was dealt, and he's going to have to get all he can here. He is up to 10th, and he can get back to 1 lap down, and barring another yellow, that's where he'll finish. But that was that top 10 scramble we talked about. He needed a little bit of luck. He got it, but 10th is probably going to be all he can muster.
Yeah, most likely 10th will be realistically all he can achieve at this point. But
unless he gets a caution, which is what we're going to get, because there's a little bit of trouble on the front straightaway. Yes, there's trouble. Doug Johnson.
He's not going to get the... he won't be able to wave around this time, though, unfortunately, because, again, no one's going to pit. But he's the first car 2 laps down, which puts him in a position where he can wave around or get at least past the leaders this time when he restarts, but he'll get shuffled to the back of the... No, he's screwed.
Yeah, I think that's the more succinct way to put it. It's just he's running out of bullets to shoot at this point. It's just not in his favor. But you look at the replay when it comes up on the screen here, it's going to be the 88 of Doug Johnson getting into trouble off of turn 4. Once again, turn 4 really getting these drivers twisted up. He grabs the outside wall, trying to hold on to it, and just comes into the path of the 91 of Wild Thing, Sean Wilder, who's, I think, hit more wrecks than anyone else here tonight. It's been a rough go for that number 91. And 2 cars involved on the front stretch there. I think they're going to call it a night after this latest one, but this will set up probably a 13-lap or so dash to the finish. Give Michael Cozy Jr. something to think about of how he's going to get a better restart this time by and not let Justin Bolton get out to a big lead.
Okay, I think I'm done making predictions because the last time we made a prediction, there was another wreck. So I'm making a prediction this time.
Duly noted, the prediction machine is officially turned off in the Taylor Fry camp, but you know, that's okay. It's been a great race up to this point, and you know, if not for a little bit of drama here in the end, it wouldn't be a complete race in my opinion. So Justin Bolton's really going to have to work hard to earn this thing. These guys are on old tires at this point, Rachel. They've got, you know, I don't know, what, 30, 40, 50 laps on their tires, and they're gonna beat and bang on each other, I think, before it's all said and done.
Yeah, and every one of these cautions is going to get a little sketchier as, again, the tyres getting older and older and the panic setting in. But we're really running into the last 20 laps here. This is going to get crazy, I think. Do I think Jeff Ward can get inside the top 10? Yeah. I think where he's starting now, the field's basically in the right order, so I think realistically he won't get shuffled too far back. But at the same time, I still think he's going to have to really push here. And that oomph he's had with the fresh tyres is going to be wearing out as well. But it all depends on where a crash happens. If Cozy goes for something crazy or Preet goes for something insane, who knows what could happen.
I think both of those, they're viable outcomes. We know Spencer Preet, one of the most aggressive drivers in the series here, and Michael Cozy Jr. has tasted that lead. He's held it for a while, and is close, you know, as close as he could be to his first win of the season. I know he really wants to get that. He probably expected he'd have a win by now, but he's looking at a guy above him on the scoring pylon, and Justin Bolton, who's a veteran driver of the service and has a lot of wins to his credit. He's not an easy guy to pass, Taylor, so I don't know how he's going to do it short of a huge send. Maybe he licks the stamp and just says, to heck with it, I'm going for it, or he just tries to wear him out the old-fashioned way.
Probably have to wear him out the old-fashioned way. Depends on what we're going to see here in this final restart. Hopefully final restart.
Well, very well could be. I mean, you got to worry about the point of no return. If we get a yellow with, 4 or 5 laps to go, that's probably it. So, you know, if you're Michael Cozy Jr., you need to get it on this restart. You can't mess it up. You can't get the wheel spin. You got to attack, and you got to get a great restart. But it's so hard from second place when you're at such a big disadvantage because the leader dictates when you go, Rachel. So Justin Bolton's going to say when he's ready to go, and Michael Cozy Jr. has no idea when that is. So he's going to be behind from the very drop of the flag. It's just a very difficult position to be in.
Certainly is, and well, we'll find out how this one does play forwards from this point, but it's going to be exciting, whatever.
Well, that's why everybody's watching. The excitement of the SESRA series. They do a great job here in the 7th race of the season already, and we got to commend them. They've put on some fantastic shows, and this one certainly ranks up there just the same as every other race we've seen this season. And lights are going to go out on top of the pace car. It's going to be a 9-lap shootout to decide a winner here at Dover. In the Chocolate Lovers 200, is it going to be Justin Bolton Maybe it's going to be Michael Cozy Jr. Don't forget about Spencer Preet, Mike Montesi as well. Travis Brown back on the lead lap. Heck, even Steve Ritter there in 6th is on the lead lap as well. So a handful of guys with a shot at this thing. Anything can happen on these restarts with the tire spin that we've seen. So I guess as they say, reach up, grab those belts, pull them tight one more time.
3, 4, 5 times? Well, theoretically we could be up to 4. Make sure they're tight.
And the point of no return could play a factor as well. So I think you got to race hard as you can, because all you know is what you know, and that's you got to make 9 laps. Some of them might be under green, some of them might be under yellow, but you have no time to waste. But field is in the hands of Justin Bolton. We'll see what happens here. The pace car makes that hard left-hand turn onto pit road. Justin Bolton wastes no time. He's onto the accelerator. Green flag back in the air. Here comes side-by-side Spencer Preet up the inside. He got himself a nice restart, fighting for second, but Justin Bolton gets away to a 5-car length lead already through 1 and 2.
That's just his own driving ability showing there. He's just so much faster, and he's saved what he needed to save for this part of the run. Cars behind them maybe have some trouble, as there's a lot of bunching up happening as everyone's pushing for those last positions they could possibly gain on the racetrack. Second and third will be a big fight there between Cozy Jr. and Preet. Preet to the low side has an advantage, but Cozy Jr. has definitely got the advantage high up in terms of his line entry. Clears him into turn 1.
Nice job there from Michael Cozy Jr. holding off the advances of Spencer Preet, but here comes Jeff Ward on the fresh tires. That could affect Cozy Jr.'s exit off of 2. It does. Does that open him up to an attack on the high side? He's able to clear himself in. Spencer Preet nowhere to go. Mike Montesi in the 7, showing the nose there as well. This fight for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th looking real good. Justin Bolton is checking out.
Signed that reservation on the hotel, and he's checking out, grabbing his bags. He's gone.
Good. I was trying to work in a hotel reference. I'm glad you picked me up there.
Couple laps, the lead's already over a 2nd and a 10th. So the only thing that's standing in the way of Bolton and Michael Cozy is the 9 car trying to get back to 1 lap down. Unfortunately, Jeff Ward caught that caution at the wrong time. If he was able to get by Bolton last time before the caution came out, he would have been 1 lap down, hard charging to get back on the lead lap. But this is just him trying to get back on, just get back 1 lap down. Now the question is, if Ward does get by Bolton, does that help out Michael in some way, shape, or form?
I don't see it helping him, because the pass is already done and Ward's pulling away. Cozy Jr., I just don't think has the pace to catch that 76. I think only one driver in this field here tonight was able to match pace with that of Justin Bolton. That was the driver of the number 9, Jeff Ward, and he hasn't been a factor since that yellow flag came out, and he did not hit that pit stop when everybody else did. So I think the book's written at this point. The ink's starting to dry, and you can put the quill away into the inkwell. This one's just about wrapped up. It's going to be 4 laps to go. This time by for Justin Bolton. Michael Cozy Jr. holds on to 2nd place. Spencer Preet 3rd. Mike Montesi in 4th, and Travis Brown 5th. They're all really spread out at this point. No fighting amongst the top 5. So Michael Cozy Jr., I think, just needs to finish this thing out, feel good about a 2nd place finish, because I just don't see him reeling in the 76.
No, it's not looking likely right now, and the 76 is gone with this one, and with only 3 laps to remain, if this ends as it is, it's going to be Justin Bolton. I don't think Cozy's going to catch him. Preet has dropped back as well. Almost a sign of resignation there from him. As I mean, look at this. The only car that might actually catch up to the 76, but got past him finally. Got him 1 lap down in 10th place. Jeff Ward got at least that. He got past Justin Bolton 1 last time. Unfortunately, it wasn't on the same lap, but he'll at least be scored only 1 lap down. Unfortunately, not going to catch any other 1 lap down cars, so he's not going to advance his position at all, but it's been a fantastic race here at Dover, and these guys just put on a masterclass of how to race clean at this track.
Some quantum of solace, I think you would say, for Jeff Ward to at least pass Justin Bolton 1 more time, if for nothing else, pride to get back to 1 lap down. Definitely a lot of speed in that 9 car, just circumstances took that away from him, but once again, Justin Bolton putting together an absolute complete race as he will work his way off of turn 4, take the white flag, this time by 1 more mile to go for the driver of the 76. He has been very dominant here tonight and showed a lot of pace at Atlanta a few weeks ago. Had an opportunity taken away from him because of technical difficulties, but came back here to the Monster Mile, put on an absolute clinic. As he works through 3 and 4 for the last time, Justin Bolton is going to reach up and grab his first checkered flag of the 2018-19 season. Justin Bolton going to head to victory lane here at Dover.
Miles the Monster may have claimed a couple of victims tonight, but Justin Bolton has tamed the Monster Mile.
That's a job well done. He's got to feel really good about that, and we'll look forward to hearing his thoughts and the thoughts of the rest of the top 3 finishers in the post-race show. So don't go anywhere. We're going to step aside. We'll come right back here, the thoughts of the top 3 finishers right after these messages. It's the SESRA Series on LSRTV, your home for live sim racing.
My name is Stephen Corpenos. I'm a senior web developer here at iRacing, and I work on the beta UI. It's funny because iRacing has been around for 10 years, but we want to keep delivering the best possible user experience to our customers, and we've found that the old UI isn't exactly what we're trying to deliver in 2018. We want to use new features and provide the best possible experience when using the sim. One of the projects that I've been working on is some custom heat racing configuration for hosted races. We've been listening to our customers. Everyone's been asking for custom heat races. Maybe you want to tweak a few things with the preset iRacing configurations. Well, now you can using the beta UI. So once you're at the home page of the beta UI, you just go to create a race. Then from there you go to your set race options. And you'll notice here under event types, you can actually choose heat racing. First, I'm going to show you how to create a new format from scratch. You can choose the number of entrants. And as you can see, when I made that change, the change was actually reflected on the right side in the graph. Also, you can use the estimated duration at the bottom of the graph when you're changing the length to see what the total duration of your event will be. In addition, you can customize every aspect of the session information, practice, qualifying, heat races, consolations, and of course, the final feature race. Because the beta UI allows us to develop features that are robust and complex, this feature will be exclusively available on the beta UI. Once you've made all of the changes, you can hit save. Say you forgot what you selected. You can always preview it using the preview format button. We are very excited to release the brand new heat racing configuration feature that will be available in Season 3 of iRacing.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of LSRTV, and it may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Live Sim Racing LLC and iRacing.com Motorsport Simulations. LSRTV would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.
Welcome back to Dover International Speedway. The Chocolate Lovers 200 is in the record books. Round number 7 of the SESRA Series complete. And after 200 laps, one man claimed the checkered flag. Driver the number 76. And we'll get the chance to hear his thoughts right now as we'll head on down to victory lane. Bring in the winning driver. That is Justin Bolton. In just a moment, let's go over the results before we do that. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I'm just so excited to hear what he has to say. Let's take a look at the LSRTV finishing order. It's going to be Justin Bolton up on top of the scoring pylon. Michael Cozy Jr. comes home in second. Spencer Preet in third. Mike Montesi comes home with a nice top 5 finish in fourth. Travis Brown in fifth. It's going to be Steve Ritter sixth. Derek Paulson with a nice recovery job after his early incident coming home seventh. Rick Thompson in eighth. Sean Wilder had a wild night. He gets ninth. And Jeff Ward Had an up and down night. We talked about him a lot. He's able to salvage a 10th place finish.
He certainly did. And 11th place tonight, of course, was Troy Rodford, with Jay Graves Jr. in 12th place, I should say. John Johnson in 13th. Ashton Schleiss, 14th. Zachary Sprung, 15th place. With Jason Anderson, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Kyle Vincent Gilbert, Brian McRae in 19th, with Mark Arthur in 20th. And just to wrap that field up, we've got Doug Johnson, Matt Ridgway, Brad Collins, Fred Thompson, Mark Dingman, Jonathan Smith, and Kevin Dye, who didn't start.
There's a look at your LSRTV unofficial results here from Dover, the Chocolate Lovers 200. God, I love that sponsor. Who doesn't like chocolate? But, you know, a guy who loves winning. Well, that's Justin Bolton. Now we'll bring him in here and hear his thoughts after claiming victory at the Monster Mile after a hard-fought 200 laps. And we'll get him in here. Justin, great job here tonight. We saw you back at Atlanta. You had yourself a great run going. Cut short because of technical problems. You come out here to Dover, you lead a lot of laps, and you get yourself a checkered flag.
Yeah, Atlanta was a lot of fun, being able to come from the back. But first things first, I just want to say thanks to Jason and everyone who puts these on, all you guys at LSRTV. It's been a lot of fun to come out here and race. I ran Bristol, Atlanta, and here so far, and it's been a blast. And I tried uploading my paint that had the banner on it, but I either forgot to save it or whatever. It ended up not working, so sorry about that. But yeah, tonight was good. Ended up starting up front, which I didn't expect. I thought I'd be a little bit off qualifying, but ended up getting the pole somehow and just tried to save tires the whole time and just knew running the bottom at the end was going to be the best, and tried to make a Cozy mess up there at the end by just putting pressure on him, but then the caution came out and got a good restart, and whoever got the lead there was going to win. So
we led 95 laps here tonight, nearly half the race. Saw you out front. Your biggest competition, I think for most of it, was the driver, the number 9, Jeff Ward, and that caution flag flew. He doesn't hit pit road, and the rest of you do. What were you thinking at that moment?
yeah, Jeff got off cycle there. He'd been fast all night, and I knew I was going to be racing him at the end with the lead that we had, and wanted to see it play out and stay green there, but it didn't. It happens, but I really thought he was going to pit there. He just was banking on the caution there, and if he would have stayed out or not got in an incident, whatever happened there, he probably would have ended up winning the race. But caution comes out a little bit earlier, he wins. Caution comes out a little bit later, you don't know what happened. So I don't like banking on that stuff, so I just came down pit anyway and was going to end up wherever I ended up.
After the issues that you had at Atlanta with such a strong run going, do you look at this as a measure of revenge, a little bit of redemption, if you will?
I'm just out here racing. I'm just trying to have fun, so it doesn't matter if I run 5th or go out there and lead half the race. I'm just having fun with these guys and being able to race with the tire rule and all that. It's been great. And you know how iRacing has it with the track rubbering up and able to move around, especially with these cars, how tight they are with the fixed setup. It's been a blast, and hopefully we can continue doing this.
While we look ahead at the schedule next Thursday night, it's going to be Watkins Glen Road Course. How are you feeling about your chances there?
I've never really been good on a road course ever, especially not in these cars with not having a lot of power. I like the Cup car there, but B car, I'm not really sure, but we'll see what happens. I don't know if we're going to have cautions or not, but if we do, that'll kind of give me somewhat of a chance. But if not, I'm curious to see how much the track rubbering up affects us.
Justin, I'll give you the opportunity to take the microphone, say hello to any other friends, family, sponsors, and those who help get you and the number 76 out to the track here on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I got to thank Matt and everyone at SimCraft. He's helped myself and the team a lot with pro stuff and in the Peak Series and all that stuff. So he's helped us a lot, and just say thanks to him and thanks to Jason again and you guys again for putting this on, and hopefully see you guys next week.
First checkered flag of the season for Justin Bolton. Really put it to him here at the Monster Mile. We'll look forward to seeing you next week at Watkins Glen.
Appreciate it.
Happy driver there for sure to get that win. And I think he was a little coy and he didn't want to fully admit to it, but I think that's got to feel good after the run he saw go sour at Atlanta. But we'll hear from our second place finisher now, Michael Cozy Jr. Rachel, you've caught up with him.
Certainly have. Thank you very much. As here we are, Michael Cozy Jr., second place tonight. A fantastic run tonight in general. Some great race pace, but couldn't quite catch Michael Bolton at the end there. Michael Bolton? Who? What am I saying? Justin Bolton. I'm
Ooh.
thinking of a whole different person. Maybe I'm thinking of singing. I don't know. But Michael Cozy Jr. I mixed the two of them up. I combined the two of you. You are now a very famous singer. How was your race?
Sweet. I don't know. I mean, I finished second. That's cool and all, but I wanted to win. Man, Dover's really fun when you got a fun race car. Dover really sucks when you got a really tight race car like it was tonight. So I was, pretty. I mean, I definitely could have done worse. I probably could have done a little bit better, but yeah, I got lucky with the one restart. Shout out to Jeff. I know he stayed on old tires, and then he kind of washed up, and it took Justin with him, and then I snuck around, and yeah, I just burned all my tires trying to stay out in front. I mean, I could have backed it up a little bit, but Justin was definitely better than I was, and either way, I did what I could. I learned all night, and yeah, it was so hard for me to get around the tightness of the car. Like, it was so tight after a while. I started skating loose coming off the corner because I had just so much wheel in it, just trying to get it to turn all night. But yeah, I mean, overall, I've had really bad luck in the league, so it's kind of nice to get a second place, I guess. I didn't even know if I was going to race, and I was having internet issues. My internet went down about an hour before, and then it came back, and it was just kind of on and off the whole rest of the night. But I'm just lucky I made it through the entire race.
Yeah, you certainly are, of course. And, well, a fantastic run regardless. And Dover's a tough track, but we've got Watkins Glen coming up. I mean, how do you feel about that? I mean, turning right as well as left. I mean, what is this strange heresy for NASCAR? I know it's a regular occurrence these days, but at the same time, a lot of you Oval boys, not really road specialists. How are you feeling about it?
Well, I mean, I like turning right. I mean, I don't do a lot of it in stock cars, but I play my fair share of F1 2018. So I not a Watkins.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop you right there because F1 cars nothing like stock cars. You might want to do some practice, maybe.
But let me tell you this: they are very hefty. You got to have a lot of precision in Formula One. And I feel like that's a lot of it has translated. I know you don't, not quite as much in the stock car. It's a lot heavier and it's a lot slower, but it definitely helps out a lot. Getting into your corners and getting where you need to be. It's something I've learned a lot, and I feel like it's helped me a lot. So, although it's not quite the same, not at all really, but I think it helped me a good bit. Watkins Glen, I know Watkins Glen very well, and I'm ready. I think it ought to be a lot of fun.
Okay, so I'm looking forward to watching you plow off in the first corner thinking this is a Formula 1 car rather than an Xfinity Series car, but anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before your inevitable crash next race?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to a lot of guys. Dennis, all my sponsors on the car. Got a shout out to all my primaries, my Indie Racing Images. Shout out to those guys, love those guys. Shout out to Dennis, Motorsports Games, Travis Brown, Cameron Kane, Hunter King, Miss Craft. We got Nasty on the side. Robbie, Tyler Diggin, Ellis Field, Jarrett. Steve Goodwin, Matthew Hibbard, Spencer Preet, and also my teammate tonight. Got Woodruff Racing there. Shout out to Blake Walker and Brett on the back and Kevin Blanche on the deck lid. Also shout out to my teammates, the rest of my teammates tonight. Mark Arthur. Who else did I have? We had in there Brian, Gilbert, Schleiss. So thanks to those guys for helping out tonight. And I think that about do it. Also thanks to Antietam Cable for my internet sort of working. But yeah, I really hope they figure it out.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us, Michael Cozy Jr. Coming on today in second place with probably winning the race for most sponsors. Have a good night.
You too.
And I believe now we've got Taylor standing by with Spencer Preet, who's probably going to have a slightly easier time in this interview than Michael Cozy Jr. did.
Well, Spencer Preet, you had a relatively alright race. You started up front, led a couple of the laps, then you fell back, and then after the pit stops and the cautions coming out, you managed to find yourself back in the leading, the leading hunt or whatever. Just how was the race all in all for you?
Well, I'm a big fan of Dover. But to echo kind of what Cozy said, it's a lot more fun when you got a setup that wants to do, or at least tries to turn. This thing's so tight. It starts off tight and it just gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And I have this really bad habit. It's plagued me for years, where I like to hit the wall in the middle of the straightaway for no apparent reason. And I did it tonight about like 40 laps in and hurt the right front. And from that point on, the tire wear was so uneven. I've never seen anything like it. After the first run, I was at like 24% on the right front. and it felt like I was about to blow. And from that point on, the rest of the race, I just never quite had the same bite in the nose of the car. It didn't want to turn, and especially off of 2, and that was killing me at the end. I thought maybe with the way things cycle on that last few restarts where Cozy got up in the lead and I was right up behind the 2 of them, I might be able to do something. But I was thinking in the back of my mind I might want to save for when Bolton tries to go at him, and then I just fell right off. I didn't have the speed anymore. The damage I got on the right front hurt me all night, and I guess 3rd is probably better than what I should have ran. Jeff was probably going to be for sure up in the top 3, so I'll take a 3rd place tonight for sure.
Well, next week we headed to a Watkins Glen, probably one of the only times this season where we're going to be taking not only left turns but right turns. How do you think you'll pan out heading into Watkins Glen next week?
I mean, I love the road courses. I mean, Watkins Glen's probably my favorite, especially in this car. So I'm looking forward to it. I know there's probably going to be some steep competition. I know if Bolton's here, he's going to be a guy to watch. So, you know, I'm looking forward to it. I expect a lot out of myself because I consider myself to be a pretty good road driver. But yeah, this is a pretty good stretch of races for me. And after a rough run at Pocono, I need something to turn it around and get me back on track like I was a little bit earlier in the year.
All right, now I'll hand the mic over to you to give out a shout out to whoever you want to shout out for this 3rd place spot that you got tonight.
Just shout out to everyone at Rebellion, Cozy and his stream, everyone at SESRA that makes this happen, and you guys for putting on the broadcast.
All right, and we hope that you have a great race next week at Watkins Glen, and good job on 3rd place tonight. Even though you had some damage, getting 3rd place is definitely better than getting like 4th place or 5th place. So, especially with that damage. So, congratulations on 3rd place, man.
Thank you.
All right, there you have it. Thoughts of your top 3 finishers here tonight, and probably one of the most entertaining interviews we've had yet this season with Michael Cozy Jr. That's one for the memory banks as well. But Rachel, we wrap up the 7th race of this season, and now our 5th different winner in those 7 races. I'm so impressed by these guys each and every week. They've proven once again just top tier talents in this series. They're able to do a lot of green flag racing. Says a lot for the SESRA series.
It certainly does, and honestly, I look forward to this race every single week because we have some of the most fantastic driving in the entire racing service. We've got some of the best strategy with the tire limit. That is what this series has unlocked. The tire limit is huge. Look at what these guys are doing. This has changed the racing in the series. You get less crashes, you get better racing, better strategy, the results matter more. It's like the real thing. They have tire limits. It makes sense. The whole thing of everyone running down pit road every time there's a caution, having brand new tires, blasting off again, causing another caution, is boring. Nobody wants that. This is the kind of racing we like.
Absolutely. We like it. The fans like it. And by golly, they're going to keep doing it for another 13 weeks after this. So if you like what you saw here tonight, make sure you keep it locked on LSRTV for continuing coverage every Thursday night of the SESRA series. We'll be back 1 week from tonight on December 6th for the left versus right 150 at Watkins Glen International. Should be a really exciting show there. Look forward to seeing everyone come back out and see what kind of antics we can get into when we ask these Xfinity cars to turn left and right. But we'll leave it there for this time and close out the show by saying a big thanks to Brett Wheeler doing another masterful job bringing the action from the track to your monitor. Big thanks to Rachel Whiteford and Taylor Fry as well, with myself, David Schildhaus, up in the virtual booth. And a big thanks to you for making us a part of your day wherever you joined us from. If you need more information, check out LSRTV on Facebook. We'll look forward to seeing you next time out. Until then, big congrats to Justin Bolton for pulling down the win here at Dover in the Chocolate Lovers 200. Good night. We'll see you next week.
The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.